All right. I think I have everything going. I'm not 100% sure. If it's going, great. If not, oh well.
It
We
seems like it, at
tried.
least on YouTube. So
Well, great. So I guess that would mean that we should say welcome into an episode of the Threshing Floor. It didn't seem right to play the voiceover intro for this because Jake's not here, and then I would have to go through the awkwardness of explaining that. So I guess here at the top, I would like to say this is kind of a cool little experimental thing that we are doing because I'm not able to record normal episodes because our boy Jake is out. Him and his wife Becca have had their son Noah. So I guess in honor of that, we'll celebrate this episode, or let this episode be dedicated to celebrating the fact that Noah has arrived. So if you
ooh,
are listening, Jake, I'm probably not live. You're probably trying to catch sleep or something. Um, yeah, congratulations. And
yeah,
look at
congrats.
your replacement here. Let us know how he does. Rate him at the end of it. So,
Been there,
um,
done that.
yeah. So we are technically maybe live streaming on YouTube. So that's your forte, something that you're good at. Maybe not good. Maybe
It's
what was
been a
that?
while.
What was the thing the guy said? You have a voice for, or stick to radio or something.
So
What
he
was it?
said like he suggested blogs. I think.
Blogs. That's it. Your
Yeah,
audio was bad, so like your voice, you don't have the voice for it, young man.
exactly. Yeah.
um, so yep. Um, want to also at the top say that we are proudly, I think proudly sponsored by Your Turn Games, which is funny enough. Your channel also is sponsored by Your Turn Games. So you
Crazy.
guys, hey, look, there he is.
He's just
Dang.
He
randomly
did.
popped in. We
He
just
didn't
got it
look for
figured out.
the
So
opportune time to drop in.
You just got it figured out?
I think we do.
I heard the sponsor. I was hoping for the glass shattering, stone cold intro.
Oh well, you'll have to try next time. Maybe on the next episode.
Next
um,
live.
but Andy did say that you can use. Let me get it so that I tell you correctly, so that I'm not wrong. Um,
and Eddie's gonna be disappointed you weren't prepared for this. Come on.
no, I was, but then I got thrown off when the fact that YouTube wouldn't connect, and then Twitch wouldn't connect. Also,
Look, I love Andy, but I think he's listened to less episodes than anyone else.
that's fine because then he might not know that we don't record them often enough.
That's why he's still
Don't get me in
sponsoring.
trouble.
I bet
But you can.
I bet John listened to fewer while he was sponsoring the channel than Eddie.
Would say shots fired, but he wouldn't know.
But at least John was able to hop on every now and then and help me out.
That's true. Yeah.
We got to get Andy on the podcast at some point.
Dang, that'd be something.
But you guys can purchase singles from Andy for nationals in preparation if there's a card that you don't need. I randomly built a Philistines and Canaanites defense and realized I don't have a doomed Canaanites. So I could order that from Andy and select Nat's pickup as a promo code for free shipping, and then that will trigger for him to save that for you and have it at National so you can pick it up. And
There you go.
Andy will have tables set up there. He'll have some merchandise and things. Done that the past couple of years. And if you need singles, anything like that, supplies there, then you can go and get that. And I'm not
Talking
saying I'm
about
not
card singles, right?
do what?
Talking about card singles, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. Yeah.
Hot,
You
hot
said for
deals on
purchase, so I
singles.
kind of figured,
What,
but just
what kind of show do you think Nationals is?
Hey, this is live. We can say whatever.
I well, until the FCC shuts us down. Um, but anyway, Andy will have his stuff set there. Even if you don't need to buy singles or anything, make sure you go over and say hey to him. I think he's very important member of the community. Him and the retailers that are active and engaging with the community. And we've got a couple of other ones. Vampire Creations as an example of a newer one that's come on the scene. So definitely want to make sure we support and show them some love because we kind of need that and having a market for that kind of thing for new players to come in and be able to get product and things. Not going to bash any websites or anything, but there is the main website you can get stuff from is a little difficult to navigate. Andy's is a little bit better, so we'll throw that out there. It's live. I can't take it back.
It's got a little more, time with it. I feel like, to refine it.
Yeah. I'm not going back and editing anything out, guys. So if you say anything that you don't want to be out there, it's going to stay out there. Now we're recording, and it's kind of like Tyler making his videos because he just presses record and runs it.
Yeah, I do every video
There's
live.
no editing.
Nope, ain't got time to edit.
You just record a whole nother video if you mess up.
I've done it 3 times for one video, multiple times.
Yeah, nice.
It would take less time to just edit.
Do you guys have anything you want to go over randomly here before we jump into kind of talking about recent stuff? Since it's not every day we have
expectations
two
for the
cool
next
guys.
set?
And do what? New set. You're talking about new
Expectations.
set.
Expectations
as
for
in
the next set?
spoilers, Expectations.
I mean, I can. I got to hear a little
There's-
expectations, and then maybe I'll give.
There's never been a live stream episode of the podcast, and there's definitely never been one where we dropped a new spoiler on the podcast live. So
We're just gonna get that right out of the way, huh?
just
Alright.
gonna get it right
Dang,
out of the
yeah.
way.
Okay, we got to draw them in just in case it wasn't a good intro. I wasn't there. All right,
It
y'all.
wasn't a good intro. It was bad. I'm gonna have to get better if we do this again.
Y'all can choose. We haven't as a team. I've done a lot of the spoilers just because the articles, and then we divvied them up. Just kind of pick whatever you want and spoil as a elder team. But we haven't done a lot of Babylonian stuff. So, you two can choose. Do you want to see a Babylonian evil enhancement or Babylonian support card?
Okay. First of all, let's take the word support and let's break that down. Come on. So support could be potentially a lost soul. It could be an artifact. It could be a curse.
It's not a character
you
and it's
might
not an
get-
enhancement.
Not a character, not an enhancement. So that rules out a curse.
No,
Well, that's technically an enhancement.
you got to use the word technically.
So that's how we're playing it.
Their curse is very good.
And what you said? You said a support or a character?
No.
No.
Yeah, a support or an enhancement.
And okay. I feel like support gives you the wider variety of seeing how it would fit into.
It
a
could be like-
theme
could be like
versus
12
the one
stones, though.
enhancement. It could, but if you get another 12 stones on your record, they're gonna fire you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
like-
lead the pitchforks.
I feel like there's got to be a chance that it's a dominant, right? Like that'd be
Could
kinda
be.
cool. Like
It could be.
Could be a
But
dominant.
I think support gives you more of an overview look at how it fits into what they're trying to do versus an enhancement. An enhancement might give you like a play style, like they're going to capture things potentially. But
There's plenty of Daniel dominants.
oh, Mark's saying Iron Pan.
Iron Pan,
I don't know if that fits the
Iron Pan
fits
was
the theme of the set.
Ezekiel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is that the story? Where's the oh, it's chat? Oh, I didn't even
Yeah, there's a
see the
chat.
studio chat. That's awesome.
you don't want to be on the studio chat because that's
Right.
just us. And
That's
I'm
the
not
backstage.
I don't have time to type. So
Live stream chat.
yeah,
Iron Pan. Yeah, I mean that's a Babylon. Okay, I see Mark's
yeah.
thought process. It's a Babylonian sport
On
card.
Riverside, on what you're looking at, Tyler, it'll actually pull. I'm on Twitch, and so if anybody comments on either one, it shows it. Which
Okay.
is pretty cool. Riverside works kind of like a hub for all of the social media that you're pushing it out to.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What it was a classic art. Yeah, it was. Iron Pan was. Sounds
All
like a
right,
rich
Jaden,
two card.
I'm going to give it to you. You get to pick. You're the special guest here, or one of the special guests since we we pulled in
He's
another
the
one.
special guest. I'm just along for the ride. Yeah, I mean, I think I like your logic. I feel like going support card. That seems
What's
seems
up,
good.
Rob? How you doing?
Yeah.
What's up, Rob? So the name of the enhancement.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
I know. I'm gonna do the support card.
Okay.
The
Okay.
name of the enhancement is Seized for Servitude. It's Daniel.
For servitude.
And it does something, not repeat, it does something that's never been done before on an evil enhancement.
On an evil
Never
been
enhancement, but
done.
it's been done.
Oh, it might have been the other one. There's an evil enhancement that it's the ability that it's doing, like how the card works, it's never been done before. But you guys didn't pick it. So I'm going to go into the support card.
Okay.
The support card is Babylon. Just straight up Babylon.
Babylon Fortress.
Babylon
You
is an
have
evil
a,
fortress.
You have a little share button toward the bottom there.
Can I
Yeah, share your
Gotta-
screen, but don't share too much.
yeah, I ain't sharing too much.
Unless
And they're gonna
Yeah.
get rarity and everything. I wonder if I can just do send a message. Oh yeah, okay, I can't do a
Just drop it in the chat.
You want me to
That's what
type
all
it in the
cool
chat?
Kids say on the,
Well, I tried to do an image in the chat. I couldn't do it.
all
yeah,
the
I
cool
don't think
kids
you
are
can do
talking
an
about
image,
it.
but
Come on,
Okay.
chat, help me out.
So Babylon, sorry, it's got Unity on it. Evil characters, Babylonian. Sorry.
Okay.
I mean, we're already playing Bad Merchants, so
Yeah, so
what's
that
one more
doesn't matter.
Unity?
So same thing. Each upkeep, if an idol is active, opponent must discard a card from hand or capture their human. Evil capture abilities cannot be prevented.
Cannot be prevented.
All evil capture abilities. Stocks is neutral. All
Okay.
other
Okay.
everything
Wait,
other than stocks.
You know, I'm Southern dialect. I move a little slow. Repeat
Mm-hmm.
it one more time.
Babylon, Unity.
What'd that dare card do?
Unity, evil characters, Babylonian. Each upkeep, and I'll type this out in chat. Each upkeep, if an idol is active, doesn't matter if it's negated or not, if an idol is active, I wanted artifacts to matter even if they're negated, opponent must discard a card from hand or capture their human. Evil capture abilities cannot be prevented.
I think I like it. I think I like it. Look, I can put your comment on the. Whoa, we're playing with all kinds of new toys.
I had it mostly typed up, but yeah, well, you got it, Tyler. All right, I like it.
Stop showing now. I don't want you to show anymore.
How does that work with triggered captured abilities? So like, my opponent has Distressed out. I put down Babylonian Merchants. Does the capture ability on him still work?
Opponent has distressed out. You put down. So I'm assuming you already have Babylon down. So evil capture abilities cannot be negated or prevented.
Right. Yeah.
And then you put down Bab Merchant. So I do. Let's see real quick. Just the wording on Babylonian Merchant. If an opponent searches, you may capture. That would be an evil capture ability. So Babylonian Merchants coming down after Babylon would be CBP.
Yeah.
Is how I see it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
You could put down your own Moses and then put down Bad Merchants.
That's good.
Then I mean, if either of them
That's
enters
good.
battle, or I guess no, if Moses enters battle, then you
If
turn off
Moses.
Merchants.
Correct. Yep.
But
But
then
you don't
you
care.
also-
Just keep Moses chilling.
Yeah. Who attacks
And-
with Moses?
I shared one of the cards I shared was
yeah.
oh wait, do what?
Oh, go ahead.
One of the cards I shared was the card that we didn't make, and that was like a CBP Prophet Bab Soulhide card. It was really really cool, really good card, and maybe we do that later. like as a promo or just fit it in somewhere. It just didn't fully fit the set, based on 129, what we were trying to do. But the green silver and Daniel Babylonian Soulhide was one of my favorite decks. It was able to manipulate souls and just get out a rush, and Bad Merchant was constantly able to throw lost souls in your territory. So yeah, I didn't think about the distressed having CBP. I gave it to everything, because you could always play like an unclean until evening and then drop like a capture on top of it.
Yeah.
Crimson likes that CBP stuff.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I guess the Unity Babylonians makes it a little. I was thinking like,
Terrified
unclean until
Chiefs,
evening,
Fire.
maybe you're not going to see that unless you're playing an animal defense, but maybe I don't know. But yeah, I was thinking like, oh, I can play Seas of Babylon on Sapphira, but yeah, I guess that wouldn't work because
Yeah.
the Unity.
Yep.
The old Unity, breaking everything.
Nebi tossing the next and giving you a CBP interrupt when Nebi CBN, and then you get the seized is now CBP interrupt is really good.
Does it make the other Seas TBP too?
I think that's the cue to move on to the next thing. So,
Boo.
first thing I've got on my outline, which I'm working off of a paper outline since I'm streaming here. I didn't want to have to scroll. Is the tournament tracker, and this thing, I think if we have just an honest thing, I don't think anyone can have anything negative to say about it. I think the tournament tracker is really cool. I ran the Alabama State tournament with it, and the pairing logic, I will give you, I appreciate the disclaimer because it was, Tim, it was booty cheeks. It was really bad. It seemed like it couldn't understand victory points and soul differential. So it pretty much tried to sort everything regardless of victory points by soul differential. But I was able to manually pair because it was a small tournament, just added up myself and pair up off of that, and there's the way to change it. And so once all of that gets worked out, I'm sure it's going to be even better. But right now, the things that he's added recently, which is being able to take your deck list, and now there's a M value, which is your Matthew count. So a deck like what Tyler was just bragging about, what Jeremy played at New York State tournament. That thing probably has a pretty high Matthew count. Clouds over Philly definitely has a high Matthew count,
Yep.
even though I hardly ever have cards in my hand after I go my first turn. But the point of it is it shows you just another piece of valuable information there that you don't have to work hard for. You pull your Lackey list, you drop it in, and then the other thing is that screenshot where when you can actually zoom in. Me and Tyler's been sharing some deck list, and when you go to zoom in, it gets really grainy, and then you know what the card is if you can recognize the art and things like that. But having it to where it stays clear and stitches all of that together, fantastic. So I definitely want to shout out Tim for working on that, and
Yeah, for sure.
I think that is probably one of the coolest things that's come out since I've been part of Redemption, because it almost feels like it takes Redemption, which is over here in our little, we all know each other hangout thing, and this makes it feel like it's trying to be a, that's going to sound really bad, but trying
Come
to be
on,
a
baby,
real
we're
card
live.
game. It makes it feel like it's trying to be a real card game, and like have something that you can use and shoot this up on the screen, and it looks more modern than anything that we've been doing previously to do tournament scoring and things.
I feel like you can qualify a real card game with the like there are paid people that are developing the tools and things.
Well, who's
Yeah,
paying
looks more
Tim?
like that.
We're gonna have to pass the offering plate at nationals. Somebody's got to get admission to the zoo or something.
I think we just have to charge like $50 for teams or something like that. No.
Go on.
That's the
Say
one shot I
something.
got at RNRS. Come on now.
Just sell the promos you win.
Well,
Also, the deck lists now are sorted, which is nice, especially for Type 2, where it's not just sorted alphabetically, but it's sorted by type and
Yes.
that kind of stuff. So your good and evil aren't mixed and matched for dominance and whatnot.
A lot of good things coming out of Tim playing 100 cards.
yeah. The only negative is that now everyone's gonna. Well, maybe not everyone. That's an exaggeration, but there's a lot of people that are willing to test it and try to figure out if there's value in whatever theme they like by doubling up on stuff.
PSA: if you are showing up to nationals with a 100 card deck, if there's multitude
You're
of
getting
y'all,
on the clock.
y'all well, no, y'all are getting on the clock before we even check in. Like y'all need to get in and check your deck in appropriately and have it written down, printed off, whatever it is, and
I think
sorted.
if it takes more than 120 seconds to check your deck in with a deck checker, I think it should be disqualified. So if it takes to figure out whether it's legal and all that, it takes more than 2 minutes, you're out, big dog.
Yeah.
Sorry, you came all this way. You traveled here. You
Have
paid
your
for the
have your deck
category. You just don't get to play.
have your deck sorted in the same order that
yeah,
shows
exactly
up on
how
the,
it's listed.
the list.
I checked it
Yep.
illegal before at
Yeah.
Nats. Checked it in,
Cool.
baby. Said, yeah, it's good to go.
And yeah,
It was teams. It was me and someone else, and it was like a last second ad. And I was like, you grab the souls and dominance, I'll grab the rest. And I went through and I was like, hey, this is
you're
good.
not the only one to do that in teams. Some people I think did it intentionally though.
Whoa, we got some
Whoa.
tea. We got some late night tea on live. Threshing floor tea.
Anyway, also from Tim is a video that came out earlier today. I looked at it and it was 18 hours ago, so I have not had a chance to look at it. I actually had to do some work today, and then I had to work on an outline for this. But it's his. I guess you could say it's almost an annual video because he did one similar to it last year. And, questioning whether he's ready for nationals and what's going into his mind as he thinks about what he's going to play, what he's expecting to see. A lot of helpful information there.
I did watch the video, so maybe I can
Hey,
give a little
jump in.
more.
The
Save me
tears
from
were
myself.
trash. The tears were trash.
He was completely wrong. No, he actually. So I went through and did some like a few points on like what he's looking for and evaluating his own decks, and as far as like is it fast enough, and what kind of counters does it have, and like answers to disruption, all that kind of stuff. And he did some tier lists of things that like themes that were faster, themes that have more counters, or I guess he kind of like tiered out some of the big counters that you will typically see in the meta. He tiered out defenses as far as speed goes. So lots of good, I think, good information from that, and then also just especially as you're evaluating, what deck you want to bring to nationals. Like that's kind of the context he was giving, is like you can look at, these are some of the things that you want to be looking for in your own deck, and if you're not using some of these, maybe see how you can get some of them in there, put more answers in there. And then he also kind of talked about his process of like 100 card decks specifically, like if you're gonna build a 100 card deck. So I guess that was kind of a good segue there. If you're gonna build a 100 card deck and play it at nationals, like what are some of the things that you're gonna want to look for? I mean, not even if you're gonna play it at nationals, like, but just if you're gonna build one, like what are some of the things that you need to keep in mind, since he's been kind of going all in on these different 100 card decks with big clay, the big nativity. I don't know, were there other big ones?
Big
that he's
Silver.
done? Yeah,
Yeah, Big
that was
Silver.
more card game fanatic though.
Yeah, Big Silver just
more-
won the Lucky
more
Grand Prix
James,
though.
but-
Hey,
Put
respect.
some respect on that. Put some respect. But what's crazy is I remember watching that, and I don't know if Big Angels won more so than I think Tim's heroes were just batting for the other team because it was just all like cross banding, and there was
Yep.
no answer for that for a couple of turns.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think being forgetful about stuff like that could impact you too in a 100 card matchup. because yeah, you got all this good stuff that you're going to throw down on the table, but then if you're not protecting it and keeping people from using it against you, I mean, that's another layer that you're going to have to think about. And it's going to be real bad when you feel like you walked away from a game, you lost 5-4, and it was because they rescued twice by bending to your big, assortment of heroes that you wouldn't have had all of those heroes potentially if you were playing a 50 card deck. So there's definitely trade-offs.
Yeah. I think maybe one other thing to mention about 100 card decks, particularly with Nationals, that Tim didn't go over, that I think he was in a way kind of encouraging people, like, if you want to do it, like, this is the way to do it. But I also I feel like I want to give a little hesitation, especially to anybody, or a little warning, I guess, especially to anybody who's newer to the game, or you're not quite at that, like if it's your first Nationals or something, like you're
You basic folks out there.
you
You
like
RLKs.
this.
Come on now.
I would apply this to myself as
The
well.
bush was already dead. You were still beating around it.
But basically, I just want to say, if you're going to Nationals, which Type 1-2 player, if you haven't done that before at Nationals, it gets to be a long day. It's a lot of games, and so 100 card decks, you're making more decisions, you're searching for more cards, you're shuffling more cards. So yeah, there's a lot to it, and I think it over 10 rounds, you're gonna be pretty like beat by the end of it. So I guess just kind of come into the tournament, if you are playing a 100 card deck,
Hey.
I recommend that you are well practiced with your deck, and kind of know your decisions.
On that thought, I just want to throw this out there. At least you do have a little bit of a break. How much effort it's going to take to get through the rounds. You don't have to play Top Cut afterward. Is it too soon for that?
I mean, I feel like that's
Live,
almost
baby.
That's almost
we
worse,
haven't
'cause, like-
recorded an episode for real, like besides that roundtable thing, which was, predated that. But we haven't had a chance to talk about Top Cut, and you guys are talking about Nationals and being prepared for Nationals, and I feel like there's an elephant just hanging out that's like, no Top Cut, no Top Cut.
We can get into it. I was gonna. I had a couple points on Tim's video.
I don't know how late y'all are planning on staying up, so I'm good.
People deserve the with Tim, like the little things, shuffling your sleeves. If they're not like matte or they're not worn down and they're slick, and you're trying to shuffle and it's playing not 52 card pickup,
you will be picking up some.
you'll be
cards at
picking
some-
up cards. You'll be
at
screwing
some
up.
point, at some point, even with a 100 card deck, you're probably going to be picking up cards at some point just because of the size of the deck.
Yep. And then if you have to do a
Especially
search,
if you're not used to Type 2 and you're not used to playing with a big deck like that, and then you're just going,
Yep.
hey, Tim made it look cool, so I'm going to play 2 of this and 2 of that, and yeah,
And if
that's
it's-
great, but
the theory is, oh, well, I banded in the same heroes. It's the same deck. I banded in the same heroes. I did my mass banding, and I did my same searches. No, you didn't. You have to find that card in 75 cards compared to 20. You had to do 3 searches in a 50 card deck, but by the time you got that, you had 15, 20 cards left. Now you have 60. Even if you drew a bunch, you still have to do multiple searches in a deck this big compared to this. I'm showing everyone like difference in sizes. Jade and I are speaking from Type 2. Like, you got to rip through that deck and know exactly what you're doing. I say this every year for years. Know your deck. You better know what you're searching for if you're
Yeah.
playing Type 1.
and my latest deck,
So it's gonna
look
look
at it.
Yeah, baby.
My latest deck, I'm trying to see if I can get to like 40, 47 cards or whatever, 48. Every little thing you can do to cut out a card. Like, there's the hopper, there's what's that card? Bearing Our Sin. As few cards as that.
Virgin Birth.
I
Yep.
just want to get it out there.
Darkness,
as
all
fast
that.
as I can. And these guys playing 100 card decks. Trust me, I'm not knocking. I think those decks are very strong. I think Tim is a legit threat with a 100 card deck at Nationals. I think anybody that just wants to write it off based on the premise of 100 card decks don't work, and then you want to cite history and things, that doesn't work
Doesn't
as
work
well
anymore.
nowadays. because especially with the last couple of sets pushing us towards mono brigade stuff, if there is a good card, you get the potential to use it multiple times in a
Yep.
100-card deck and things, which almost makes you wonder how much this trend is going to keep pushing forward as you guys are limiting the dual brigades and things, and not having as many. Actually, I don't think. When's the last time a 3 brigade card came out? I mean, it's GO7.
IR, baby. Potential in land.
Oh, okay. Yep, you're right. Clay. That
me
was
go
clay,
back.
white, and blue. Yeah, my bad.
These colors
My bad.
don't bleed. Trivia question. Top 3 are ranking at Nats. Who was the last person to rank at Type 1-2 player Nats and with the biggest deck, and what size was it?
Now we're.
I mean, are we like, so when was the biggest deck used to win Nats?
Dud? Was it?
Yeah,
Dud?
like what's the biggest deck that did top 3 or most recent? Top 3 biggest deck.
How much am I allowed to cheat?
You can cheat.
I feel like it was 2011.
Let's see.
That
Matt
sounds.
Townsend won in 2011.
That wasn't it then. It would have been Boston.
Let's see.
Let's see. The only reason I go to Covenant games.
It's so let's see, 2003 was Kyle Hostetler.
You guys
Far
are-
back as I've got.
You guys
I
are
can't
so
think of
far down
who
the
would have
rabbit
been.
hole now.
What's that?
Yeah, it was in
You guys are
Massachusetts.
so far down the rabbit hole now.
It was 2010.
Y'all are calling out cities that I didn't even know hosted nationals.
Linfield, Massachusetts. It was when I flew into Boston. I played a 70 Carter and got third.
See, I knew it was going to be you in the answer, and that's why I said 2011 because I remember you
Oh, wait.
placed in something in
Alright, so
2011.
the-
Is
the
that when you
biggest
won
deck to-
booster?
to place at nationals.
I made up the trivia question, but I think so. So it was in Type 1-2 player.
Yeah.
I won booster that year and I got third in Type 1-2 player. And I gave my deck to someone else in Type 2. And
That
they-
was the right thing to do, but then you scarred them for life. So, pros and cons.
I put it out on
But-
Cactus forums and didn't play it. Dumb
Speaking
Gabe
of,
won.
speaking of nationals, to
Zebulon.
kind of push us back towards the narrow straight
Boo.
path, or I messed up the analogy. I'm sorry. 29 days away, nationals is, and that's another thing that Tim has done great for this community is you can go to Land of Redemption now and across the top. I believe that was a suggestion from someone that's on this stream. I believe he credited Jaden with that. I mean, I'll take credit if you need somebody to take credit, but you can go and you can see down to the minute. Now, I don't know if that's all that necessary, but I'm guessing that counts down to the start of the first category, not deck check for Type 2. So don't show up last minute if you're going by that timer, ready to play Type 2 on day one because
Brian.
big dog, you've missed
Brian
you've missed deck
Jones.
check.
A bunch of newbies in
Yes.
Type 2 this year. Tim.
I feel like we should maybe talk about that too. As long as
Ooh,
we're,
oh yeah, we're taking over, baby. Yes.
we're talking about nationals. We started talking about
Tim's just
Type
a wild
2.
animal, though. So, I mean,
Just-
What
you
kind of
guys
animal?
attract- wild animals attract wild animals. You know, that's kind of the way that goes.
So
but
right now, the countdown timer says it's 8 hours, like from 28 days, and then a little less than 8 hours. So it's counting to like
6 in the
5
morning.
o'clock in the morning.
Oh, that's
Tim,
his
Tim
time.
put it on California time.
yeah, that's
Tim's got us on California.
yeah, that's Hotel California, baby. That's the Eagles.
time you like, but you can never leave.
Well, wait,
You're
no, wouldn't
stuck
that
in
be?
Rogers, Arkansas.
Oh wait, that'd be
3 a.m. Yeah.
yeah, we'd be
You got it.
Atlantic
It's good
Ocean.
at 3 a.m. on the 31st, I think. So
Hey, his heart was in the right place.
It was.
Okay?
Always is. Always
I
is.
mean, he's just gonna be up at 3 a.m. doing reps with his deck to make sure that he can shuffle and
He's gonna have
do all
those
his
shuffling
searches.
gloves on.
Okay. Another thing about nationals that we now know since the last time we recorded is we know the promos, the winter promos, and if I can quote them from memory, we have Murderous Command as third place. Second place, we have 20 shekels, and then we have one that I will go ahead and give credit. Jaden is the one that suggested Benaya, but he had used his guess, so we were talking about it, and he said that that could be an option. So I used my guess, but it was from the brain of Jaden that came up with that. So we were expecting it to be an ultra rare after seeing the art last year. So we just had to wait a year.
Yep.
And now you get it in shiny foil version. Although we would have had that potentially in foil version last year, we didn't know it because we didn't know that the set had the foils in them.
It's not relevant.
presumably foil. I don't know. Has that been confirmed yet?
It has been confirmed that it was intended like designed with the assumption, but it's up to Rob. I think Gabe said that it's up to him, but he's done it the last few years, so he would lean.
Yeah, it'd be
towards
cool. It'd be
more
cool
than
if it
likely it's
was,
gonna
and
be
we said,
foil.
"Hey, this looks cool. Can you do it?" kind of thing. But I mean, there's not never, but there wasn't a confirmation and stuff on that.
Yeah. So we do have those promos. Now we don't have. Oh well, I guess maybe we haven't talked about the new participation promo either, Redemption, since we recorded.
Do you want
Which
background
is-
on it?
Yes, we've got the man here, so why not?
What is
Take-
redemption? man?
Take us. What
So-
what is redemption to you? Tell us about it.
It's an addiction. So, Roy asked for a promo this year, and trying to get 30th, I believe, and he was like, "Hey, can we do something special?" And he asked for redemption, and honestly, I was the one that was like, "No." like
No.
no, we got so much going on. We got more we're trying to do. We got a lot of things bouncing around. Like,
You
I don't
already
wanna
got your warrior in training.
and I was like, we have a card called I Am Redemption. We have the logo on the card. We have card called pretty much Redemption. Like, what are you looking for, kind of thing. And he wanted an all new card, and I was like, I don't want to set a precedent that a host gets to do that, to where it's just like, hey, I'm the host, I want a card. Roy's heart was in the right place.
Blue Nationals coming soon, baby.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you get a Noah, and you get a Noah. And so he was asking, heart was in the right place, intentions were good. It's just like, hey, if we're going to have a participation promo, something special for an anniversary type, could we do a card called Redemption? And then we kind of was like, okay, what would that look like, kind of thing. So we kind of talked through it, and the first version that came out was insane. You could, at the end of the turn, you could bounce all your heroes, discard all your heroes, bring them all back, max your hand, discard. And I was like, no, absolutely not.
Who came up with the ability?
Just team effort.
I mean,
It's kinda
assume it
thrown
just
out
didn't
there.
have the
Come on,
limit
throw
3
somebody
on
under the
there.
bus. Who did it?
Roy,
Roy, I need this card, and
I got
to
it.
do
I need this
17
so bad.
things, and next spring, I want it to file my taxes for me.
So I was like, no, but it kind of got pushed to the side. We had some other things that came up. We had talk, and then just a little bit. Elders also have a lull period too. So when it came, and I pushed it back, I was like, hey, this thing can't do all this, but let's tame it. What does this look like? And we had discussions on what does that look like? I don't even know what the limit was on the draw. I think the limit got brought down to 3. The limit was larger. You could discard everything and bring them all back, and I think it was 6 or something. So we tamed it down into where it looked like, hey, this is good. Like, this is a participation trophy, my bad. Promo.
Whoa.
Live.
Whoa. Ironically, I don't like participation trophies.
Yep. me
Yeah, when I
either.
go to nationals, I want my.
I want it.
promo.
I
I go to a tournament, I want it.
Yep. I'm
I
all
showed up,
against
I
participation
deserve it.
trophies. But when I get there, I'm just like, I showed up. I deserve this. And this should draw
I
6.
worked hard.
So we toned that one down a little bit to where it feels like it's something to where, hey, if you didn't get to go, but people got 3 of them, they'd be willing to give up 1 or 2, and it would still be a good card. To where it's like, hey, this has a spot in decks, and it's still useful. That's a little bit of background on it.
If you can't play it in Type 2. I won't bring that up, but I will say I think one of the things that I'm a little bit disappointed about with this card is the fact that you can no longer use Gates of Hell more than 4 times in a turn. Otherwise, this would be sweet. Like,
I know.
just build that Gates deck
Just
where you just
discard all your heroes, bring them right back, draw
Yeah.
3, discard an evil character.
be sweet.
I know. I miss Gates.
Tim just said that the timer is pointing to a calendar day and not a specific deck check time. I gotta say, you missed an opportunity here, Tim. It should have been the deck check. Boom. But hey, we'll still take it. We're still on board. You're a cool guy. We'll forgive you for this one slip up, but don't let it happen again. Now we got the winter promos, and I know that the last couple of years it has not been vocalized or shared, but there has been a worker promo, and I think we have to work off of the disclaimer that there is no guarantee that there's going to be one, but if there was one. And I know Tyler, you just hang out. But what do you think? What do you think the worker promo could be? Since you pulled Benaya, so you got another rabbit in the hat.
Ooh. I mean,
and if we think back, what was it? It was last year. It was 2 bears, and prophets were coming out in the set. And green hadn't been played a lot, or at least mono green hadn't been played a lot. The year before that, it was
Music
War in
Leader.
Heaven. War in Heaven. Pretty sure it was War in Heaven. Chris's National.
Yeah, it was.
Music Leader was the year before that then?
Yeah, Music Leader was in Iowa the year before.
Yeah.
So the Music Leader, I mean, it just seems like it's just hanging out on an island. I don't know. War in Heaven, it seems like every set of national promos has something that pushes demons. I mean, there was the Serpent my first year at Nationals, then there was King of Tyrus, then there's War in Heaven, Gates of Hell. I mean, aren't we missing our demon element here for this year?
And Tyler can't even listen. He's gonna give something away.
Because we're on to him. It's the demon thing. There's something that pushes orange out of each set of promos.
Huh. I mean, then I would want to think it's like something related to like Greeks or Persians, but I don't think there's anything in orange that would really merit that, in rotation here. Like,
I mean, it could be a really nice version of like maybe King Xerxes or something that might see more play. Depending, well, actually, I don't know. That's the wrong person I was thinking about. I don't know who I was thinking about. But some of those, like a Babylonian Merchants, like a cool version of that could be pretty cool. Is it Babylonian Merchants?
that wasn't the final guess. I don't want to. I mean, like, I guess if I were to choose, just kind of out of the cards that I would think of, I guess just kind of generally, I think Storehouse would be the one from IR would be the one that I would think like would be the most kind of versatile, and then also could use that facelift, I guess, of not having that thick white border. But also it's a worker promo, so like, those are about as hard to get as the first place promo, if not harder sometimes. I don't know, but
Yeah, just one rule of thumb: don't ask for it.
Nor expect it.
hey Tyler, I swept that corner of the room over there.
Did you
Yeah,
see me
you
take
didn't
out
see me.
this
You didn't
trash?
see me with a dustpan too. I was working two instruments at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm a one man band, but I was cleaning the floor.
Mm,
But anyway, so we've got that. We also had times
Tim
to
guesses
come.
Messenger of Satan. That'd fit your demon
Yes,
theory.
and Messenger of Satan is a favorite card of Tyler's. So
and we have one mocked up.
Mm.
there you go. We need a demon element.
And Marcus said change it to where Messenger of Satan's upside down.
Is upside down.
So he's like hanging from the ceiling, like a bat.
Yep.
Yeah, and he draws from the bottom of the deck, so kind of makes sense. A little backwards. Okay.
It's all coming together.
But we had times to come with a Prince of Greece promo as well, and obviously the set is going to be coming out. We also started this, 47 minutes ago, talking about some spoiler information from the new set, but that's going to be coming out. So you wanna since you're already in the habit of giving us some background on the card, you wanna go ahead, Tyler?
With Prince of Greece, that one was a little bit more cut and dry. We wanted to bring back a lot of those demons from Daniel. I think that's safe to say you'll see some. I would say look at what's currently in rotation, and then look at what's not currently in rotation to kind of see what may or may not be in the set. And Prince of Greece, I don't know. I keep ragging on Discord. Discord has so many good pros. Maybe this is a con of Discord, or maybe people saw it. It just seemed like it was like spoiled and then just gets kind of shuffled. But I thought Prince of Greece would get. It got like good reviews, and I had a couple people message me like, "Yo, this is really good." But I was like, "Man, this card is very good.
Yeah.
Like just pretty broad negate. You use a search ability, I discard whatever I want. CBP. Like, and it's a demon, and it's Greek, and it's weapon class. Like that's or warrior class. Like it there's just a lot of good things to this. Daniel,
VP.
Add it to battle.
add the
Yeah.
battle on the gates
Off
of hell.
Gates. Yes,
Like
that's so good.
maybe Daniel gets another way to add to battle. Like there's just a lot of good things about this card. Current rotation, Wing Leopard, like ban draw 3. I mean, there's
Pretty good.
just Greeks. Yeah, Greeks are just good. You could play them Unity. You could play them Daniel Unity. We already saw Final Act. You can play them non-Daniel Unity. There's just every Daniel defense gets a different way to be played, whether you want Unity Daniel or non. So it depends on like I used cards that were currently already in rotation. So if you look at Persians, you have Esther, like just based on chronological of the Bible and where Esther falls much later, more like post-exilic and stuff with like Cyrus or where that would be beforehand. But with Cyrus and then came Darius, which actually, beforehand, and how Esther fell with Cyrus, I believe, and mentions Darius. I forget. I'd have to go back in. But there's different references from each biblical story. So you can build a Daniel deck with Babylonians and do Unity Daniel for all three, Babylonians, Greeks, and Persians, or you can do them with Haman and Zeresh and Gomer and Persians and Babs and Bab Merchant and Greeks and Priest of Zeus. So you'll be able to make each deck has like a subtype to it for defense. I gave you no context on Prince of Greece, but I kind of rattled off.
I think
Hey, we'll take the rattles.
I think my two thoughts with Prince of Greece, which like I feel like some people might read it and not think about the the discard a card effect as much, but that just to clarify or like point it out, that can hit cards in battle. So like discard a card can hit their hero in battle, which kind of leads me to the second thought of like it's kind of like Prince of the Air in a sense, where it's it's a CBP, can potentially win a battle, gets a lot better if you have a way to make it CBN if they've searched. I don't know, it's like Judean mediums to Prince, Judean mediums to Prince of Greece, also good. The foretelling angel, Prince of Greece. Also, also good.
Come on
Maybe.
now.
The you'll consistently see with angels and um, demons specifically that the characters can do things without enhancements. They're not going to get strong enhancement support. Their characters are much stronger. And you'll see some themes I do get a little mix of both, and some will get a mix of much stronger enhancements and weaker characters. And that gives kind of a little feel that people don't tend to see. And I like that on the back end. Um, Animals are still getting more attention. So we'll see kind of like a mix of these like strong animals, and they have some strong enhancements they can use, like a balance of both. Demons very much are strong characters, and when you're there's counters in this set. You're doing stuff that you're used to. The meta was getting too stagnant. GOC is amazing. That's fine. The meta was getting too stagnant. If you're used to doing things over and over, Redemption's going to be boring to you. Now, if you like winning and you're just playing GOC because you're winning, I'm going to challenge you to think outside of that box, because this set is going to punish what you're used to winning and force you to win different ways. It's going to make you play Redemption.
By robbing at the consistency. 'Cause
Nope.
that's well, it feels like there's a lot of things with some of the new, I guess, quote unquote counter pieces or anti meta type cards that take you away from like, this is how my deck normally operates, and I get in this line of play and I just coast to victory. It's like Prince of the Air coming out and underdecking potentially a bunch of stuff because you had some mass banned, and you usually rely on those things to then push you through the rest of the way, and just little things like that. And this guy coming out, negate a card, great, and then use a search ability, discard a card, but not discard a good card, discard a card. Could be in battle, could not. So you get a little bit
Not be a
more.
lost soul. Just remember that.
Well, okay,
People
cannot
like
be a lost soul.
Yeah.
But if you're Prince of the Air, already
Hidden
underdeck
rules.
those.
Yeah, we had to
that.
add
And be
that.
your opponent's Prince of the Air.
Yes.
Yes. Although I think you're playing him wrong if you left him on the table, potentially.
Well, yeah.
He blocks.
He
20
blocks.
shekels.
Well, I like doing with like Black Gold Outsiders. I love getting and using one of the underdecks to underdeck himself, so they can't respond to it with a dominant or something like that. So it's usually he's either going to die because I underdecked all your brigades, or he's going to the bottom of the deck, or something.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess Brian would kill me if I did not mention, since we were talking about nationals. I know we're kind of navigating a little muddy water about it, but we are doing the fantasy draft again this year at nationals, and the fantasy draft is now officially, I can go on record saying it is officially going to be hosted again. I guess he hosted it last year. the actual
Two-time
draft part.
host.
Two-time host. The only host
Tradition
in
now.
the history of the fantasy draft, Mr. Justin Alstead, the Guardian
Got to
of
keep
the
him coming back.
Fortress. We had to find some way to, tie his arm behind his back and make him become the nationals. So
Yep.
we had to give him a job to do. So we have that. We also have 2 confirmed people that are going to be drafting. That is Mr. Tyler Stevens here. I will also be drafting a team. Hey, defending champ, I got to do it, right?
Yep.
Not to mention it's also my brainchild here.
Not
But
a sound bit for that? What do we got? Where's the
Man,
board?
dude. What do you want? Clapping? I don't know. Dude, I'm there you go.
Yeah. Go Justin. Fantasy.
Oh wait, if we're talking about for Justin, but we'll give him a cheer.
Golf clap. Oh, I like the volume up too. Nicely done.
But another person that is going to be drafting a team, and I think I'm still going to try to target to have 4 teams drafted, because I feel like competition between 4 is a lot more exciting and interesting than competition between 3.
Yeah.
But Jamie Collar, who is one of the hosts for Nationals, will be taking a team. So he will be drafting. Now, he does have inside knowledge right now because it hasn't been shared with everyone else yet. But since there is on the sign-up form a chance for you to, say that you want
don't
to
need
be
it.
entered into the pool of draftable players, he gets to see firsthand who is available and gets to start working on that. But the problem is Tyler's going to pay him off to try to win.
Absolutely.
So
Not try.
I will say also I am working on trying to get something to give as kind of like a commemorative for the draft. I'm not going to say what it is or share what it is until I get it and verify that it is a good thing to give away. But I have ordered it. But with the way that things that are affordable come across seas from China, it's over the water somewhere. So I'll see when I see it.
I
If it
could have
looks
picked
good,
it
I
up
might
while I was
share it.
there.
Missed opportunity.
I missed an opportunity there. I'll tell you what. But I did something similar to what other people have done, but different in my own way, and I hope it works out well. And I guess you'll just have to show up to nationals and see,
Ooh.
or maybe
Ooh.
I'll share it beforehand, but I probably won't. I'll just confirm that there will be something once I get it and verify the condition. I'm not like Tyler. I don't have to spill the beans about it. I've only got one thing to give away. He's got all these cool spoils, 129 cards in a set, and he's like, I don't know if I can spoil something.
15. 15. That was 16 tonight.
16. Okay. And we're expecting what, 21 by the time Nationals gets here?
Yeah.
Something like
I just
that.
threw a random number out.
Yeah. You might see four more.
Okay,
Maybe.
4 more.
I think that's fair.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Also, I
There's
just
been
realized
no-
my pointing was backwards. I just
I know.
wanted to throw
I
that
saw
out
it when
there.
you did it, and I was like, okay, I see what he means.
Yeah, it's mirrored for me. Sorry.
I'm lost. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Um,
Fine.
I got a quick thing.
Okay.
Hype for Nats. It stopped for a little bit. It wasn't as hyped. A little bit more cards are coming out. We have a new ability. We have good promo looking. We have some good promos in general, good participation. We have Babooni blister packs. Last year there was more hype, but Fantasy Draft was the first year. It seemed like we have a lot of good things now with the tournament tracker, with a pretty good meta. I'll be honest. Tim straight up was like, hey, this is Nativity. Jake was playing Nativity. They were playing it hardcore up front. They got first and second. The meta looks more open this year. We have some rogue decks. We have 100 cards. Like the meta from a Type 1 perspective, we have Type 2 stuff we can talk about in a little bit. It seems like there hasn't been as much hype, I agree. But it should be more hype than it was last year. This set, I know, this set is better than Inheritance, I think. And the second year Fantasy Draft should go smoother. So I don't know. Is it just was it not as marketed, or is it because Fantasy Draft is the second year, but we have Babooni blister packs and we have some cool stuff at Nats? Is it just kind of the same thing, or what is it? Putting you on the spot live.
I think honestly, with something like the fantasy draft compared to something fun like Tim providing
Something
tokens-
fun
What?
compared to something fun.
No, I'm saying like it's fun for Tim to share the spoilers for his tokens and things. That's one man with his
Generates
own schedule
hype
and
compared-
being able to.
Yeah.
The fantasy draft is making sure I can't promise something and then fail to deliver on it. I don't want to
Yeah.
be that guy. And it requires I got to get 4 people to commit to in being involved drafting teams. Justin turned down drafting because he wanted to just host and be involved that way. I'm
Yeah.
relying on Jaden to help me out with streaming it and then pulling the information together and managing that. It's just a lot of things that it's hard to, and Brian's been pushing me to, dude, you got to be hyping it up and all this, but at a
Brian, you
certain-
can do stuff.
at a certain
I'll say it.
Boy,
Brian, you can do stuff. It's okay.
He's getting that reputation, ain't he?
He's had that reputation.
But it's hard to walk the line of like promoting it, and then if it doesn't work out or it's not as robust as you want it to be, it kind of just falls flat. And so it's like tempering kind of the expectation.
Yeah.
Like it'd be nice to just sell out and hype it up and all of that, but than if it ends up not being that, and then the excitement is dead for next year. Then it's a 2 year thing and it's dead. So it's kind
And I think like the way we pulled things together last year, like I feel like it's gonna happen no matter what.
of
But just
yes, but is it going to be chaos, kind of like it was last year before we hit record?
I mean, if it is, at
I
least
mean, I'm
people will be
cool.
excited about it.
I can operate in the chaos. I'm okay with that.
We gotta
But
pull Joe Schaefer in again, just last minute.
Bring him in.
Jake drafting Chris Bashman. That will forever be the highlight of the first draft. He's like,
That was
well, I
great.
knew his name.
Oh,
So if we can get past, I drafted him because I knew his name, and having it on the sign up form, people that are willing to be drafted, I think gives it a lot more validity and makes it feel a little bit more official.
yeah,
So,
for sure.
and hopefully the things that I'm getting in to share with people for to commemorate the draft, hopefully those work well and yeah, I think each year just continue to build it up, and I don't want to like oversell it early on and then it fall. But like you said, like we're hard headed enough between you, me, and some of the other people involved. It's gonna happen, yes, but it's a matter of how professional do we make it look. Not like this live stream. The
We
way
go to
it's
Walgreens and get everyone's
unprofessional.
name printed off on a.
Yeah, on live, you got to pick, and
And if you don't get drafted, big dog, you don't play in nationals. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, let's walk it back. So the main part of what I have on my outline to go over is tournaments. There's been a lot of tournaments. There's still a lot of tournaments to come before nationals, but there's been a lot of tournaments to go over. So I'm just going to run down a list of some tournaments that are forthcoming, that are coming up, just some quick dates, and you can go and find the information on Cactus Game Design. You can reach out to the people hosting; it's got their information there. But just going to hit you with the tournament and then the dates. So we have Michigan State coming up July 11th and 12th. Yeah, I muted out that cough because I'm not going back and editing this. East Central Regional, July 11th and 12th. July 12th is Southwest Regional. I do want to. I feel like that one's worth. Hey, let's pause here. Southwest, not Southeast, not Northwest, Southwest. So that's out there, and I believe it's being hosted somewhere in
Yep.
California.
Yep.
And they already had their first tournament in years in California.
did you see who hosted and who went?
It was Brian Hake. Is
Yes,
it
do you
Brian or
know?
Byron?
It's
Brian.
Brian, and he
Okay,
used to
okay.
go, like, his forum's name was Byron. Do people
Okay.
know that name anymore?
I know of it.
He was the OG designer.
Yeah.
He did everything. Like, he mapped out Redemption for 10 years. I'm making that number up, but he mapped out Redemption for years.
I
He
think-
was a phenomenal player, one of the original elders.
I think the first thing that I remember or hearing about him was a story Gabe told me on the podcast at one point, talking about card design and saying when he was early on play testing, and I hope I'm not misquoting, but it was like split altar, and it didn't work the way that they thought it was working, and somehow it got printed that way or whatever. But he shared a story about that, and so I think that's where the name first stuck with me. And then I've seen it in other things. You go back on the boards and you read things or whatnot. So
Yeah.
I think it's one of those names that if you dig into Redemption history at all, some level, you're going to come across, and you might
He
not know
made
who it
clay,
is or
the
what it represents,
churches.
but
He laid out enough sets to where he said, "Hey, I'm busy with life. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. Like, I got to step away." And he laid out sets in his vision to where he could walk away from the game and they still had material to work on. And his son, Kurt Hake, was a great player and a phenomenal Type 2 player, who is back in the game and I believe will be on the top 10 list maybe before Nationals. He was a great player when he played. He also got second place behind you, Mr. Hendricks, I believe, in the card design contest. So his dad used to be the designer, and
Yeah.
Mr. Kurt Hake got, I believe, second in front of me.
Mm.
That's all AI art, but with on the card design. So that's cool that he's designing cards. He's playing again. The prodigy returns. The prodigal son.
Speaking
And
of
Sounds like he's planning to be at Nets. So.
yeah.
I believe so.
Speaking
Mr.
of
T.
the
Go ahead.
design contest, I felt when I was reading those abilities and things, I was like, these people went like super creative, and I went I leaned into like what would be actually potentially printed.
That's what I did.
And
Yeah.
not pushing the envelope too much, and
Yeah.
I was saved by the fact that I had cool
Art.
and
Yeah.
then
Art one.
and then it was the two fortresses that are laid out horizontal or
It was horizontal. Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Really
at some point
cool
we're gonna get
contest.
that in the game. So I'm counting on you, Tyler, to make it happen. I charge you with this.
All right.
But back to the list of tournaments, we also have Wisconsin State coming up on July 18th and 19th, and that is closing in really close to nationals. But it's not the last tournament because there was a tournament put in for what feels like last minute, but I won't throw Jeremy Chambers under the bus. Oh man, I just did. Southeast Regional is July 18th and 19th, and so those tournaments will be happening. And then of course, Nationals is July 31st, so just a couple of weeks later.
That's a tune-up, baby.
Yes.
Did you I kind of got distracted for a minute. Did you mention North Central Regionals?
No, I did not see it listed on the Cactus site. Did I miss it?
Oh, must not be up yet. But yeah, that's also
Okay,
July
well, it's
18th and 19th.
Okay, so another last minute. Now who do we blame
Dang.
for that one?
Uh,
Jeremy needs some company under the bus.
So as much as we can blame them all, this is the first time, and I don't know how many years that every region has had a regionals.
Yes.
I know Rob posted it, but as soon as I saw Southwest, I was like, "That's it! Like we have
Oh,
not
snap,
had.
it's happening.
It's happening. We're back." And not just Southwest, but Mr. T, who is Brian Hake's nephew,
Nephew.
Kurt Hake's cousin,
Is that right?
and Tim. So there, and now I will say California used to be a monster. They used to be good. They used to have a strong play group. They had great players, and they would make it to nationals.
They had one Nationals 2009.
They did have a
right?
nationals in 2009. The Gabe won Type 2. I got second. John Early won Type 2 multi. That was speed camp year.
That doesn't count. It's multi.
I know.
Hey.
But he played with my deck. That's why it counts. I remember those years. But yeah, they also had Nats back then.
Wait, I have that Ron Sias won Type 2 multi in 2009.
Did John Early get second?
Whoa.
Yes. Yep.
Gotta
Okay.
get your facts right.
I-
Jaden
Yeah. Wow. Ron. The redemption antique.
I've been working on the Nats placement history spreadsheet a little bit lately.
Yes.
Okay.
What else you got, John? We're going to
So-
try to keep derailing you.
Yeah, I see that, but I don't think this is definitely more interesting than a normal episode for the branching story.
Oh, come on.
Here, so I'm okay with it. But we're gonna go into some tournament results and start going over those. Now, one tournament that got a lot of travel was the New York State tournament, and it was at the end of May. I know we went the whole month of June. We didn't talk about it, but we're here to talk about it. And at the potential demise for Mark, we're going to talk about it. But the results for that, just to give you the raw results, and then I'm going to share a story. But Type 1-2 player, that was won by Mr. Jaden Alstead. Whoa, hold on. We need to. Where's the
Come on.
cheering at?
Come on.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready for my moment.
Yes.
There you go. You won your tournament. We'll see if that puts you at first. You do not yet know what what is to come.
That was great.
Nobody knows. Yeah. Wait.
Second place was a tie between Jeremy Chambers and Luke Hull. And then type 2 player, Jaden Allstead. Again, do we got to do the clap again? You need it?
Give it
Don't
to
know
the
if
man.
you get number 1 or not, so you might as well take the cheers.
I'll take him now.
Yeah, you take them now. I'm glad I could help you out with that. And then Jeremy Chambers came in second. Zach Miller came in third. In Booster, up from Tennessee, Sean Severs came in first. Booster Jones came in second, and Jeremy Chambers came in third. In Sealed, Booster Jones did redeem himself. He won, followed by myself, and then Ryan Greason.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, you want
Just
you
gonna skip over second place there, like,
okay, there.
and then in third place, Ryan Greason.
And then in third place, Ryan Greason. Nobody else got second place cheering, but I'll take it. In teams,
Nobody else was here.
In teams, Mark and Jalissa Valake won, followed by Keegan and myself. There was only 2 teams. Now, this is where the story
There
happened.
were 4 teams, weren't there?
Was there? Maybe that's right.
Yeah, because you guys played while we went and got ice cream.
I mixed up. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to apologize to whoever came in third. I only had 2 teams for Alabama State, so I only grabbed the first 2 teams. So whoever came in third, it's on Discord. I'm sorry.
I think it was either.
This is live. It can't be edited. I've already messed up. You're just gonna have to eat it. Fall on the sword. I'm sorry. Anyway, maybe it was because I was so excited to tell this story, and I told you. You heard this story on the way back in the vehicle, but I've never seen a player get put on tilt so bad as Mark in our team's game, and I don't know why he was on tilt. Mark got on put, dude. His tilt rivals the Judas, John Early, and Jay story. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's that bad.
Whoa,
Do you remember-
Mark.
Do you remember
Rebuttal?
You remember Iowa Nationals when I told you that I had to tilt them where I was done, and y'all weren't gonna let me live it down?
Yep.
Okay.
So when you said tilt, that the first person I went to was you tilting someone, maybe on purpose, and I was like, if John is saying this, like his expectations are top.
Okay. This is the worst tilt I've ever seen in part like seen.
Mark, I wish you were still in chat. I've got to hear this story.
Right.
What's worse is I've got the account from him because
He's holding his phone.
So he sent me a message to make sure that I didn't forget the details. So
Mark's still here. All right, good.
is he?
Also, I just want to, before we get into it, Ben and Luke Hall got third place in teams.
Okay.
But did they tilt?
I'm glad they did not tilt. I doubt it. Mark did say, "What's the best tourney so far, and why was it New York State?" You are right. He's right. It was New York State, but that's because all these people from other regions came and kind of picked y'all.
Oh,
up,
my
so.
chat doesn't scroll automatically. What kind of
It doesn't.
janky
You have to go
software is this?
Yeah.
Baboony Tim's in here. Joe's in here.
You think
Bro.
I'm thinking it's dead?
I'm over here like, man, this live's beat, dude.
So he used. I'm going to read you this because hopefully it'll come back to me enough to where I can throw some janks in. But his plan was to use Covenant with David to grab Heart After God and Meek Flip to get Son of God. He activated Covenant with David, and it was negated by my Res Revealer. So that started it. That started it right there. So he pivoted on his rescue attempt, and then I played Glory of the Lord. Okay, so Glory of the Lord, and I did Outsiders. And he couldn't do anything there. And his complacent was up, but it was obviously negated by my Res Revealer.
Just like his D-Heart. Tilt 2.
Yeah. So then he used Crouch Choice to try to get David.
In battle?
Yes.
During battle, can't do
During
that.
battle.
That's
Well,
restricted.
why?
Oh, it was negated. Yeah, you res revealed
Yeah,
his
yeah.
complacent. So yeah, it's
So,
negated. Or
um, so instead of getting David, because I forget what the reasoning here was. Um, oh, he was planning to add with good seed, so he had good seed set up. So he was going to get a
okay.
character and add him to battle, but he couldn't get David. He realized that afterwards, so then he switches and he gets.
He said, "I'm here."
Dude, it's been so long, I can't put it all together. It's coming to me as I tell it. Uh, so he picked David, and realized seed only adds a New Testament hero. He said, "This is when all rationality fled my person." I looked over at Jalissa when this was happening, and she didn't make eye contact with me. But I was wondering because she's like, Mark, Mark. And she was like, she doesn't tell him what to do. She just, you hear a remark, you look over, and that's all she says. But it like channels something in him to, oh, let me straighten up, or let me make a different play, or it's their communication. Um, she wouldn't make eye contact with me. She didn't say anything. He said, y'all were negating my neutrals, and they were running Soul Surfer decks. I had already gotten rescues from the big two because me and Keegan have a deck for teams deck. It's just sold out to get to the big two, and then we're dom rushing the rest of the way. And then turn two, we're trying to do concealed riches and just layer the boards with counters. That's I'll tell everyone what we're trying to do. That's what we're doing. So he said it was a rare instance of letting my emotions take the wheel of decision making. I hope, Mark, this is okay to share this since you sent it to me in a private message. But we're already here, buddy. Call my publicist and get me canceled. Jalissa, he said, Jalissa later said she could feel me looking at her in confusion, but she refused to meet my gaze.
Yes.
She stared in horror at him burning his second coming to get crowd's choice again, to then burn good seed to put to put Thomas the Twin into battle. So he went and got Thomas the Twin, put it in battle.
Yeah.
Keegan had already, before I blocked with Outsiders and Glory, been like, do you want me to martyr him? And so he added him, and Keegan's like, can I play this dominant now? And he had no choice, and Keegan martyrs him. So after all of that,
Mark, you could have just stopped while you were behind, but no, you had to triple, quadruple down.
we were only up 2-0.
Oh,
Just the two free ones. I
Mark,
think.
this is a great story. He will never do that again. I will never play Second Coming into a Nazareth. Like,
the solace for him though is they ended up winning the game because it timed out and they were ahead. I think it was 3-2. It was either 4-3 or 3-2. I don't remember. So they ended up navigating it enough to win in time, or not in time, but due to time. So
yeah.
in the end, it didn't punish him enough that he may never do it again. He still ended up getting first place in the tournament. So he might be crazy enough that he would try to pull it off again. But watching him do those moves, because he was investing every bit of thought into it, like it was like the play was there and he was going to find the line to it. And he just, when he put down Second Coming to get crowd's choice, and I'm like, okay, what's he getting? And he goes and gets Thomas the Twin.
Yeah, that is a steep Second Coming.
I thought he would at least get somebody that banded to one of our heroes or something. Like, go and get Guardians from Glory, something.
Choo choo! Thomas coming.
Oh, man.
I just want to. We talked earlier about Outsiders and how you like to underdeck Outsiders.
Yes.
Did you not underdeck Outsiders during, like, when you blocked?
I don't think this
Didn't need to. Mark was going to mess up.
I don't think this instance, because I had the Glory. And, you know, like, what character is going to come down that's going to...
I mean, the good seed would have gotten you good if you had a character to add.
Well, that's true. That's true, but I also...
Instead, you just baited him into making them misplay of his
when I
life.
blocked that... Well, you got to listen. I knew when I blocked that because Keegan had already asked about martyring his hero. So I knew that we had martyr in the pocket. So, and if he adds with good seed, generally, I mean, if he bans, okay, we'll figure something else out or whatever. But I
That's
did
funny.
I told him afterwards, I was like, I misplayed because I usually do not leave my evil character in battle because a lot of the add to battles require it. I was like, so I had already messed up because I had two, I think, because David Hart, I forgot, is red and white. Maybe that's what it. I don't know who he was in battle with because he tried to get David, but he couldn't add David. So I forget who he was in battle with, but I think I had two, and I had already
He's
said.
here right now.
I think, yeah, but it's been a month.
Yeah.
I think I said that I would target his two heroes, or no. I don't remember.
Probably
I
warrior
remember,
training.
I remember telling him that I misplayed because I should not have left that on the board, and I just thought somehow he was going to burn all of this, and it was going to come back to bite me that I misplayed. But luckily it didn't. And as soon as he put Thomas the Twin down, and Keegan said that, I think he remembered that Keegan had maybe he didn't know. But
Yeah.
Keegan was like, I can get rid of it with. And he turned and showed me the card. And then Mark goes into burning all these resources just for Keegan to be like, I still got this card.
Remember me?
Yeah, remember me?
I would. I know it's not in any way possible. I would love like 20 cameras and just a tilt compilation every nationals. Like just seeing misplays and people like, like at the end of nationals, we just watch and we're just like, oh, who was the worst? Oh,
I think there was that moment in like old like late 80s, early 90s action movies where you have like Arnold Schwarzenegger and he like says the line, get to the chopper in every movie, but right before he
yeah.
does it, he's got like that moan, that agony moan. He's like, or however he does it. It's got like his accent. I think
Yes.
Mark was sitting there as he was thinking about those plays. He was like in that moan. He's like, ah. And Jalissa was yelling in her heart. She was like, get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
Get out of here. Cut bait and run.
Hey, a win's a win, baby.
Yeah, so hey, they got
Take
it.
them any way they come.
But so one of you guys want to take and share the next? I guess it would be Midwest regional
E-Man.
results.
Emmanuel's here too.
E-Man would be one of the best players of all time without misplays.
Without misplay.
But he never
Yeah.
gets tilted though. That's the
He
thing.
doesn't ever. My man will make the biggest mistake and be like, "Oh."
I know that he would never tilt because he didn't tilt. He just let it roll off his back when he
Yeah.
got turn one crossed. By my man Jaden here, and he saw it coming. He's like, "Dude, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
E-Man is one of my favorite
Turn
people to
one
play.
cross combo."
And then I rescued his Daniel like twice. And
Oh. Dude, that's personal.
Yeah, at that point it becomes personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Speaking of
welcome,
type
me
2.
man.
Hey, man.
welcome to the show.
All right, Midwest Regionals. That was hosted by our friend Jay Chambers. I would have loved to have been there, but I'd already planned like months ago to go camping that weekend, so I did not make it out there. But we did have a couple of Minnesota representatives who will show up in the rankings here. So in Type 1-2 player, we had our boy Jay Chambers taken first, then Joe Andrighetti, Minnesota group. Oh, there we go.
You didn't leave me enough. That's okay.
So then Joe Andrighetti taking second, coming in from the. Oh, let me go this way, coming in from the west, and then we had Mark Valake coming in from the east and
Looking
taking
for
third
redemption, not the participation. promo.
Ooh.
place. Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, Mark had 2 regionals and that we're going to be going through here. So I mean, he's got princes for days. And then in Type 2 player, this is like a theme now. If you win Type 1, you also win Type 2. I don't know. Is that Jay Chambers also got Type 2 there? Mark Valake got second in Type 2, and Elijah Andrighetti took third in Type 2, which I have to hear about. I had not haven't
saw
heard
that.
the story here yet. So if Elijah was playing Type 2, then that's pretty sweet. And And then in booster, Mark Valake did get a win there, taking first, and then Joe Andrighetti in second, and then Jay in third. Got lots of repeat names here. Then in sealed, who had Joe Andrighetti taking first, Elijah Andrighetti in second, and Sawyer LaFountain in third. And then in teams, they actually did have at least 3 teams. So yeah. Mark and Jalissa Valake also got the win there. Another theme we got going on here. And then Joe and Elijah Andrighetti taking second place, and then Jay Chambers and Caden LaFountain in third place.
What would be
Nice.
the strongest direct, I guess maybe you and Justin, strongest
Relative pairs.
relative team? Like you got to be related or married.
John
Mark
and
and
Gabe,
Jalissa.
they're married by the elder clause.
Yeah. Like Jade and Justin, Mark Jalissa would be a good one. Jay and Jeremy. Actually, Jay and Jeremy would not be. They hate playing each other. They always.
But playing together is different. Like I don't really
Yeah.
like playing Justin either. So I mean, that's
Jay and Jeremy play so differently.
yeah.
'Cause
That's
I've talked to them about teams, but I mean, I still think they'd be fine. Like because you and your brother, and then you got both Hendricks, Mark and Jalissa. Like and Joe and Elijah, spurred that thought. Like what would be the best?
Mm.
Tyler,
Blood.
did something mess up on the settings, or are you just?
Oh yeah, I had my feet
Did you move
kicked
your
up.
chair?
I had my
I'm
feat
trying to
kicked
figure
up.
out how to fix it for like the last.
No, there was
15
no.
minutes.
I was standing like this, and then I put my feet up. So I saw it like change, and I was like, oh, guess I
was
gotta
like, what
have my
happened here?
posture
Everyone's
again.
gonna say I'm doing something wrong, but
I was just sliding down with my feet
I didn't
kicked
think the
up.
wall art had changed. So okay, well we'll jump right into before you get us in another rabbit hole. The Alabama State Tournament that was hosted here in Alabama, obviously here in Tuscaloosa, my neck of the woods. We had some of the new players from over in Mississippi. There's a play group
Yes.
there. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find a time to do a Mississippi State tournament. It was kind of they hadn't had any tournaments or whatever, so we didn't get to have the first ever Mississippi State tournament. But that'll come next year.
Do y'all hear
But
that? The first ever Mississippi
yes,
State. Like, even though it didn't happen, the fact that it can,
yeah,
that's huge.
and the kids over there are super excited. It's great. I've definitely talked on this podcast about the struggles trying to get some traction, and luckily, Eric, my buddy from over there, popped up on the Discord. He was like, "Hey, I'm in Little Rock, Mississippi. I didn't even know Little
Little
Rock
Rock,
was in a
Mississippi.
Mississippi."
They got one of those there too.
Isn't that where Nationals is?
Arkansas.
Is that one of them Arkansas?
But anyway, it was like 2 hours, so Tuscaloosa is like literally the halfway point between Jeremy, who is 2 hours 15 minutes northeast of me,
Yeah.
and then they're southwest by about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Literally, we're the central point. So we didn't have a ton of people turn out. We were expecting potentially close to 20. We ended up having, I think, 13 players, which is still solid considering that I think 8 at least were playing for the first time in the tournament.
I also think that's bigger than Midwest Regionals. Just saying.
Well, I'm not trying to. A comparison is the thief of joy, you know. So, I'm
just
just
saying, good
having
job.
fun here.
Yeah.
We did debut. I got the Twin States, which is Alabama and Mississippi. They kind of look together, so look alike. So we came up with this name, Twin States Play Group. We got a little title belt. Shout out Mark for the idea there. And now it's apparently in Mississippi on the wall at the church there, unfortunately, because someone from Alabama didn't win it at the end of the tournament. But anyway, had a lot of new players and Type 1 2-player. Thankfully, with all those new players, I was able to win that. Appreciate that. Then we had the brothers from Tennessee that came down, Luke and Philip, respectively. So Luke second, Philip in third. In Type 2, there was a tie. There was only 2 players, and they tied. And it was Luke and Philip.
There's a team right
No,
there.
Another team.
Nobody's playing that category. Alabama don't type 2.
I feel like you should have
Jeremy's
made him
misplaced.
finish. Like,
Well,
Oh, Tim has a brother that plays. Luke and Philip, the Hakes, Mr.
Yeah.
T.
the
There's a lot of them.
Marshalls.
yeah.
There's a lot.
Booster was won by Eli Dean. That's one of the kids from Mississippi. Did really well for his first experience there. Philip Anderson and Luke Anderson, respectively, came in second and third. In sealed, Philip Anderson won. Eli came in second, and Joshua Sheehan, one of the guys, one of the adult guys from Mississippi, and he is actually the one that took home the belt. So he's got it until
Very cool.
whatever fateful day that I am able to challenge him for that and bring it back to our home state.
Good.
And then in teams, myself and Keegan won against the brothers Anderson. So
Hey, there
just
you
first
go.
and second.
There we
was our
go.
third team. And that brings us to the craziest scheduling thing I think I've seen since I've seen tournaments is the state and regional tied together. Maryland State on 2 days, and then that second day starts also the regional that finishes up on the third day. So a 3-day tournament extravaganza. hosted by
bender.
Rob M. Yes, a redemption bender, if we can say so. And Rob M drove down and hosted that. And I think I know Brian traveled to it, and then there was the people from the Maryland group, or that area, but also people from New York. Luke Hull and the Valakes came down. So maybe not as much travel as New York, but it was kind of cool to see some cross travel there with that, especially being kind of a cool concept of putting the state and regional together. I really wanted to go. I just couldn't make it happen with work because I had just taken off recently for the New York State tournament, and then I had to work in hosting our own tournament, and then Keegan's baseball tournament is in a week, so I'm going to be out for the majority of a week. And then Nationals is shortly after that, plus I'm missing a Friday for the 18th at Jeremy's Regional. So a lot of travel. I couldn't fit it in, but we did send a representative to go take down the enemies, and that was Mr. Brian Jones. So Brian went up there and conquered Type 1-2 player in the Maryland State tournament. Second place was Charles Johnson, and then Mark Valake came in third. In Type 2, Brian let us down, mirroring the wins between Type 1 and Type 2. Mark Valake came in first there, Brian Jones second, Peter Wenzel came in third. In Booster, Brian Jones came in first, Mark Valake second, Charles Johnson third. In Sealed, Robin Dermo came in first. Congratulations there, sir.
Hey, Dermo.
Peter Wenzel came in second, and Luke Hull came in third. For teams, Rob and Hannah M. I'm not going to mispronounce his last name. They came in first. Elijah and Naomi M. came in second, and Mark and Anthony Valake came in third.
A
So,
new team there.
yeah, changing it up a little bit. And then for the regional tournament, which happened again, in that same time frame there, Type 1-2 player, Brian Jones, again, winning that with Big Clay. Luke Hull came in second. Mark Valake came in third. Type 2 player, Joe Roberts came in first. Andrew Wenzel came in second.
Yeah.
Peter Wenzel came in third. In Booster, Charles Johnson came in first. David Wenzel came in second. And Sean Wenzel came in third. A lot of Wenzels up in that area. And then in teams, in Sealed, Brian Jones came in first. And Mark Valake second. Luke Hull third. Teams was won by Mark and Anthony Valake. John Michelesian and Charles Johnson came in second. And Rob and Elijah M. of M Studios came in third.
I like how Mealesian, that one we're all kind of, people
I
are kind
think
of getting
Rob's
used
last
to.
name is
But
Moulier, but I don't want to say it wrong. And
It's Mule.
are you
Right?
sure? There's a
Yeah.
Y in there. I just last
thought
time
it
I
was
spelled
Mule.
mule, it didn't have a Y, so I feel like the Y has to change the sound somehow. So I wasn't confident. That's why I didn't say it. But now you got me on live stream explaining why I don't say certain names.
And
Do
Rob,
you
like,
remember that episode I started? I
hop
did
back
like
on a few minutes.
the B-roll at the beginning. I was like, what was that kid's name? Timothy. It was just Timothy Sarnecki. It was like a easy enough to say name, but I kept getting hung up with Brad on like Necky. That part of it. I was like calling this dude Necky. It was just, it didn't. That's why I was pausing on that. If anyone was like, why is he struggling with his name? Because I just kept laughing when I got to the Sarnecki part.
I remember that.
And it was the awesome B-roll. I was like, nobody was harmed in the filming of this episode. I just so Rob M, I'm sorry that they called me out and I didn't say your name. I don't know how to. Maybe you drop it in the chat how to say it.
I think it's worth noting that the deck lists for New York State and both of these, well, all of the Type 1 deck lists for New York State are on Land of Redemption. The top 3 deck lists for Maryland State and Northeast Regionals are on Land of Redemption, so you can check those out.
Everyone turned in deck lists except for Alabama.
The amount of work Tim does is truly awesome.
Midwest Regionals, I believe, also did not have deck lists, or at least they're not on Land of Redemption yet, so don't feel too bad.
I had a bunch of new players, so I was juggling that. So trying to make sure they had perfectly filled out deck list. Felt like a hurdle that didn't have to be a hurdle.
We also don't have the deck list for the next tournament, which I guess I
Okay.
can go ahead and take if you know.
Because I mean, you got to eat the bullet for this one.
Being in my backyard here, even though I was actually in somebody else's backyard for the weekend, I was not there. But the Minnesota State tournament happened this past weekend, and in Type 1, I just gotta say, I'm proud of him for sure. Maxwell Graff taking down Type 1 2-player in I mean, it was still a pretty decent field. I wasn't there, but actually Maxwell and I played a game on last Wednesday night, and he beat me there. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it could have taken me down.
Was that the Orphans game?
This is late, but I just felt like I had to. That one's nice.
So, and I heard that it was actually like hardly even close. Like in going into the 4th round, Maxwell was in 4th place, and he was playing the player that was in 5th place because he already beat the players that were in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the first 3 rounds. So, yeah, he was taking it down with some take action.
Take.
Josh with Thieves, and then we had Joe Andrighetti in 2nd. I believe he was playing a Ruth deck, probably similar if not identical to Jay's list. And then Justin Alstead in 3rd place there. He was probably playing the same thing as last year. So
GoldenEye.
Just glad he's playing.
yeah. In Type 2, we had 2 players there as well. Justin took first in that against Nehemiah Graff, the younger version of Maxwell, who was a few years younger, but he's still also getting pretty good. And then in Booster, we got Mitch Stewart taking first. He came up from Iowa for the tournament, which was very cool. Then Bill Voigt, another throwback name, that he was able to make it for this one. He was in 2nd for Booster, and then Justin took 3rd. In Sealed, we had Maxwell Graff taking first there as well. Calvin Schold taking 2nd, and then Elijah Andrighetti taking 3rd. And in teams, Maxwell Graff and Calvin Schold teamed up and took it over Nehemiah Graff and Elijah Andrighetti. So, yeah, very. I mean, it was a decent turnout, I think, for. I had most of our group. I think there was at least one guy for sure, other than me, that normally would be there that wasn't able to make it, and one guy who, well, I guess maybe 2, two that weren't able to make it, and then one guy who wasn't able to play, but he was able to come and hang out for a little while.
So y'all just let John keep getting away with it.
Well,
you don't even count him as one of the guys that should be there.
I didn't count him. He's got enough other things going on, and he's living, far away.
Okay.
He should be hosting his own tournaments down there, like we used to do.
I will say that, especially after having our tournament here in Alabama, where we got to see a bunch of players have their first tournament experience and things, seeing a lot of new players come to the game, especially younger players. It's kind of cool to see Maxwell. See live, I can't edit that out. Maxwell Graf win, and seeing some other players that are getting better. That if you think like the last couple of years, they first started out. Seeing Elijah, I don't know what the competition was like in Type 2, but I mean, seeing young players being willing to take on Type 2, I know that you guys want to see that category grow, and it's like Chad's group up there. He's like, I don't even know why, but they're all interested in Type 2, and it's just seeing players come in, figure out the game, and then start to actually do well at tournaments. It's fun to see, and I think it's a prerequisite for any level of growth that we want to have as a game. So it's really cool to see when it comes full circle like that.
I've talked about the bell curve before, like the redemption bell curve, and where it used to be.
Redemption's got curves, big dog.
It has. It's a voluptuous beast, but the
A
redemption
beast.
reprint, the
Worker
redemption,
promo.
the redemption bell curve, I felt used to be a lot of RLKs, and it would be very narrow on the end with top players. This is historical redemption. What I've seen now is the competition. I think this is just with how much we share and content, how much is out there, deck list and Jaden and Tim, just what's being shared and deck breakdowns and all that, where people can just take a good deck, Your Turn Games and Jaden building contenders. You can just buy a deck with a breakdown, upgrade it, watch a video on it, and like you can jump into the game. Even though the complexity of redemption is different, the redemption bell curve rules is different, but the actual players, and I think we saw that last year, it's tough to do a draft. Like there's a lot of good players, just speaking Type 1-2 player. It'll be interesting to see this year where there's going to be some names in the top 10 that we've never seen before. We talk about sports a lot, John, where if you base on playoffs last year, like NFL, usually it's not half, but it's close to it, where half the teams are gone, and you have a new set of teams from the year prior.
Welcome to my life with the 49ers.
49ers, baby.
They fell off.
Hey, at least you make the
hard.
playoffs. So,
Well,
JTS. So this year, I think we're gonna have, like, if we look at the top 10, that'd be a fun topic. We won't do it tonight, but we look at the top 10 of who was in there, and Jake probably not making Nats, but like, so let's take the 11. Who's still gonna be in there? And then what names are going to come in. And that'd be fun to do before nationals. Like look at the top 10 and kind of say, don't want to hurt people's feelings, but what are new names that could come in? What are names that could be pushed out that got to practice?
Well, I tell you what, talking about names, I mean, we do got some names to go over here for our updated power rankings. Now, I will say I haven't been doing good on the whole like media thing. But I think I might be able to find. Nope, see, I'm not gonna be able to do it in time. These things are not organized right.
Do you want Tyler and I to talk about something?
We can stall for you.
No, I've got it.
Please.
My voiceover guy charged me enough. I'm gonna get some use out of him tonight.
And now, it's time to find out where the hottest players in the game stack up in this week's Power Rankings.
I'm so
This
bad at this.
is the top 10 redemption players right now, according to us.
And if Jake was here, he would say, according to us. But you were talking about new players getting into the top 10. We have, by my count, 2 new players in the top 10 of the power rankings here leading in to the last, handful of tournaments before nationals. So we'll just jump right into that. Try to keep this episode kind of on track a little bit, but
10.
number 10, making his debut on here, I believe his screen name is Snake Eyes with a C. I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but Mr. Charles Johnson here in number 10.
Ooh.
So I'm just gonna hit the next call out, and one of you guys take it.
9.
I'll take this one. One of our Minnesota guys here, and so number 9, who got he took a few good second places at some of the recent tournaments. Mr. Joe Andrighetti, who I believe is watching currently. You made it number
Nice.
9 now on the.
We should
on the
move
power
him up a
rankings.
spot or two just because he's on.
Because he's here, yeah, must be present to win.
Must be present.
I got 8.
8.
It's a tough name for some people on this podcast, but another, I think, Minnesota local. The 1X, the 2 L's, Maxwell Graff.
Let's go.
Dude, it was a complete misspoke. I didn't miss.
Not Matthew.
That's it.
There's no th in there.
I was looking for his Matthew count on his
Yeah.
on his
We
tournament
got a tool for
tracker.
that.
Yeah, I got it confused. My bad.
7.
Number 7. It's kind of ironic that I get to call this one out because we just made fun of his tilted play, but really that whole story just tells you how bad of a player that I am, considering I still lost to him in the same game. Let's not let that fall off the radar. But congratulations, Mark. You are on the list. You've made it. Not a lot of things we can do to keep you off the list at this point with all your results and traveling to tournaments. So
6.
All right. This guy's been consistent on the power rankings, but he's kind of sliding down a little bit, but not necessarily because of, play, mostly just because of not playing as much recently, but he did do pretty well at New York State, the New York State tournament among pretty good competition. And in number 6, we got Mr. Jeremy Chambers.
yeah.
You also played probably one of the coolest decks at Minnesota State, if not the coolest. Like, I would definitely give him props for that as well. His deck was pretty sweet.
At Minnesota State, or you mean New York?
Did I say New York? Did I say Minnesota?
York.
Yeah.
New York.
I got it
State.
wrong
I
too
thought
on
I missed that
Discord.
He traveled. I was about to be mad. He didn't come to Alabama State, but he came to Minnesota. We're gonna have to have
Came
a
to
talk.
Minnesota State. He didn't even place in any of the categories. There are only
What a loser.
2 players in Type 2.
Maxwell took him down, or Matthew. My bad.
There's only
Matthew.
2 players. Max, you still got it wrong.
No, I did that.
I know.
Okay.
5.
The big brother, the non-chicken, Jay Chambers. He's dominating up in the north and in the Rust Belt. The man moves up out of Alabama. He's still taking down tournaments, just playing whatever he wants. This man
Whatever
is
he wants.
wild.
Ruth. I saw him post that
Baby.
deck list, and I was
Ruth?
like, "What?" Like,
Yeah.
took me a
Yeah.
second to kind of process what was going on, but
It
I was like,
it
"You know
hits
what?"
you from different angles. It's very much a J deck.
Yep.
4.
At number 4, we've got the man of the hour, the guy we talked about a lot with recent things, giving back to the game, the tournament tracker, all of that. Still finding time to be probably one of the more well-rounded, competitive players as far as sharing information, but also still being able to take that information. Everybody knows what he's playing and still do really well at it consistently. And last time he was in second. It's been a little while since we recorded. Other people going to tournaments and things and coming away with big wins. And this isn't really a knock on him, just kind of making room for other people. But at number 4, we've got Tim Estes from Big California.
Yeah,
on
we'll
the
see
map.
after their regional tournament over there. Maybe he'll be climbing back up a little bit.
Climbing back up.
Like the tree.
3.
Number 3, the guy who took down Tim at the Northwest, that direction, Northwest regional tournament a little while ago, but still definitely worthy of a slot up here. Has been doing fairly well in the Lackey Grand Prix, even though, well, actually, I shouldn't spoil it yet. The video's not out, but I played him last week. Mr.
almost
Chad
forgot.
France, and in number 3 here on the power rankings.
2.
Some would say he's a little overrated. Some would not. He's on tonight, the one and only, with one of the coolest intros in YouTube, Redemption with Jaden.
Nice.
Should I cue it up? I don't think I have that ability.
I don't have it here.
Stupid live.
I'll tell you what. And now you know, kind of at the top when we were poking a little bit of jab here, Jaden did know what the rankings were coming into this. He did argue them a little bit, but I did suggest, and I want everyone to know that while Jaden might be second, he didn't run from a fight, because it was presented that we should say the top two were too close to call, kind of like an election, and we're going to have a runoff and replace tomorrow's
Not this last one.
Redemption with Jaden video. I already got dangerously close to politics.
It's live,
right
baby. Let's
there.
go.
But it was mentioned that, hey, Jaden and Brian could play it and duke it out for first in his video or live stream tomorrow. But Brian said he couldn't play on Lackey. He's like, I just can't do it. So he's got first by default.
Asterisks.
But there's a little bit of potential asterisk. But I
Like
mean,
the Astros.
I guess. Well,
One.
number one, we've got Jonesy himself, Brian Jones, Booster Jones, winning all kinds of things. Did do pretty well at New York State, so take that. And then pair it up with what he did at the Maryland State and Northeast Regional. And he would not let you forget. How many was it? Was it two? Was it two district tournaments?
2 district
He had
tournaments.
two
yeah.
district tournaments where he played against his play group and he won every category. He wanted to make sure that was on the record. So we've got it on the record. And
He
our
didn't
number
play
one player
teams for
right
the
now,
record. He didn't win that.
potentially with a little bit of disclaimer with it, but Brian Jones. So we'll see if someone can take him down before nationals, so he doesn't have to compete with all that pressure on his shoulders.
Are there any more tournaments that he's going to be going to that are in his area?
I'm not sure. I don't know if he's going to make it to Chris's regional.
You gotta come up to North Central Regionals if you
11,
want to
12.
stay up first here, Brian.
He's
Y'all
got
gotta
the
get it
regional
posted.
points.
It's got to be on the.
He's
It's
got
gotta
it
be on-
posted. That's fair.
Hey, if the shots get fired, it was the gun. It wasn't me.
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah. I still think that might be a little too soon. But I guess what we've got next is trying to close it out with a few questions. We've done a lot of rambling and side conversations
bad.
here, which has been fine. But let's finish it up with the community mailbag.
Now, it's your chance to join the podcast and have your voice heard as we get ready to answer your questions with this week's Community Mailbag.
All right. First question comes from, I put on here, do you have a least favorite redemption card? If so, what is it and why does it merit your dislike? And this was actually asked because this is kind of painted towards a potentially negative question. I was shocked at who actually asked this, but it was Tim, who normally, stays in the positive realm, but this could get a little negative depending on, reasons you hate a card. Or dislike a card. And I have been told before we start answering this that all Angel Wars cards is not an answer. So that is a disclaimer, because if that was an option, it would be my answer. Straight up, no context needed. So we'll start with you, Tyler. What is your least favorite?
Accuser's Lost Soul.
You and me both, big dog.
It's just negating OT humans of how many chapters in the Old Testament. Like, it negates so much, and it just pushes you towards, right now in the meta too, it just pushes you towards GOC even more. I mean, it's cool if you can do like, it would be cool if it said negate humans in battle. Then it's like, okay, well now you could play like angels and demons and animals. I could see that, but just negating OT humans in battle, it's so much for one card to do, and it just shuts down so many things so quickly to where I don't get to play my deck because you drew a Lost Soul turn one.
Yeah. I think the fact that it hits both ways too for
Yeah.
the Testament it's a little far reaching.
Yep.
E-Man
end
just
for
chimed
me.
in with this Seized by Babylon. Oh, that's good.
Nice. Seized by Babylon.
Double down. Yeah.
What do you got, Jaden?
Uh, I have a different way of.
If you don't take mine, I'm going to be very emotional in my response about mine. So,
If I don't take yours,
yes. Because mine, I hate with the fact that it was ever printed.
okay.
And I feel like you
Okay.
might take
Okay.
mine here. You know which one I'm talking about, Tyler.
Now I do.
I hate it with an unbridled passion.
Well, I'll let you figure that one out. I think I'm gonna take it from a different perspective, and it's a card that I used to really like, but because they're basically a side effect of the way that the rules changed, it doesn't work well anymore. Even though
Okay.
I want to play it, I'm gonna say Urim and Thummim, which like
Yeah.
the sweet card, the artifact rule, which it's understandable why it had
Yep.
to change and all that, but the fact that Urim and Thummim was kind of a casualty of that, I
Yep.
think, it hurt a bit. So
Yep.
And what's the wording on that card?
it's
It says you may deactivate and then activate another.
yeah
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
it can be reworded to work, but it's if you have a high priest and player set aside area, look at an opponent's hand. You may then deactivate this artifact and activate a different artifact. So actually, I don't.
And
So what
the
made
thing
it
is,
not
if there's
work
an
anymore?
artifact, when you activate it, you can't then activate the one that was already active previously.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it forces you to have a rotation of 3 artifacts instead of just rotating between 2.
Yeah. But I mean, we've got 20 shekels now, so who even
Yeah.
needs Urim and Thummim
And you
anymore?
got a fancy version coming. So
Yeah.
there's that. No more white border. No more white border.
Jay's is Judas before you get on your rant.
Yeah, Judas, the hero side specifically.
Yes.
Mine, without a doubt, the card that I hate the most is Herod's Temple. I hate that it made such a cool mechanic in the game, toss, become easily applicable to every offense that and potentially defense in GOC and things like that.
And protect all the all.
And it's the protect, and it's the fact that it crosses over like accusers. And I think the reason accusers stink so much is it crosses over alignment, and this crosses over alignment. No good temple should be protecting evil. If it was a dual fortress, which would have been a cool concept, dual fortress, and you put it in play and it's either good or evil, and it does it.
Yeah,
it only
protect the
impacts one
alignment,
side.
toss the alignment.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I do not. I think it's too. There shouldn't be cards that when you put down, they're as far reaching as that one is. And I think the fact that like accusers, you read the ability as simple, but then when you drop it into play, all the things that it potentially touches and affects,
Yeah.
and you think about that with Herod's Temple, but then it also has battle implications, but it also has territory protection on top of it. And the fact that it crosses over alignment, it just
Yeah, it does a lot. And it doesn't offer a lot of interaction.
If that card was banned today, I would not. I would sleep better.
Yeah.
I wouldn't miss any sleep over it. I probably wouldn't wake up for 2 weeks.
We just throw
I'd be
Glory of the Lord in
snoozing.
there as an honorable mention along
Yeah.
with that.
Glory of the Lord, yes, and for the exact same reason, and that's a common thread. Not necessarily with your card, because you went more of like a personal, like it worked and now it doesn't work and it's a bummer thing. But as far as like Tyler talked about a card that's far-reaching in its impact, I talked about a card far-reaching in its impact, and now you talk about Glory of the Lord, and all 3 of those cards have one common thread that should never be. Well, I wouldn't say never, but probably should not be allowed in the design space anymore. Not to tell you guys what you should do, but from a player perspective, having a card that can go across alignment and affect both, and you can play Glory as good as evil, impacts both ways, whatever. The versatility and the utility can't be that high on a single card, and it can't have such far-reaching impact. not every deck should have to play a card just because if they don't play it, they're already behind on a resource in the
Yeah.
game because of how impactful it is if it's played against you. And yeah, so I think we could probably all say Glory is probably number one, and then all those fall in line after that. But
James
Yeah,
said
and-
Mary Holy Virgin. You can see that, but also you gotta be careful when you're, talking about her like that.
That is
Eight
a
is a
great
strong
joke
number,
if
so-
you know. That is very good.
okay,
I will quickly change on that one. The playtesting of Herod's Temple, like we said, hey, this is doing a lot, but when we were testing it, it is very difficult, especially for that set and complexity, to build decks, playtest, gather data, look into that data, and actually start being like, okay, what's busted? Like, what's too much? Like, we have hunches, and there was a couple things like we toned down the resurrection. The resurrection was even better. We said, hey, this. There was like the Annunciation where I was like, hey, this, and Spirit of a Dove. I was like, hey, these are way too consistent. Like, this is Mono Brigade Clay in Type 2. Like, there was things we talked about, but if you're not getting out there and testing it and just testing a bunch, like, stuff just gets pushed to the
grapes of
wayside.
wrath. E-Man's throwing out all the things that hurt his heart.
Am I right?
But yeah, I definitely think, and I think how much reach a single card has, I think is something that's toned down in the last few sets. Maybe a little too much in IR. But then, the things that we have from Israel's Inheritance and what we've seen so far, like even when it's impactful, there should be like a direct counter to offset it to where it's, if we want a rock, paper, scissors meta, and that's what you guys, have said before, you
Yep.
can't be strong against everything. You're strong and you're weak to something
Yeah.
else. Then you have to design cards like that. And there's a few cards, and not knocking anyone because it is all volunteer based. And like you said, there's a lot to get done to get a set out on time and things. But some of the ones that have slipped through that have caused the most negative impact, I think, are just the ones that have too much consistency and then impact too far from a single card.
Yep. Like
Brian's
Foretelling
official.
Angel.
Hey, Brian said earlier, I don't know if you saw it in the podcast Discord, Tyler, but he said he heard a rumor that there was going to be a card banned. Is there a rumor that is there any truth to that rumor? Can you tell us? Is there going to be a card banned? Is Emmanuel going to cry?
I don't think A-Man's gonna cry. Daniel Cloud already got banned, so I don't see the issue.
Is there another hero getting banned out of?
Not that I know of.
Can you foretell us anything that's coming down the pipe?
Nope. Would
It's coming at you from every angel here.
Coming from every angel.
is there
I'm
is
just-
there a
we were
last?
talk- We were talking Prince of Greece, how impactful that ability can be, and I just don't think that needs to be CBN personally.
It's not CBN. CBP.
Yeah, but come on, Brian. I tried, big dog. he's not cracking.
Your tricks don't work on
Get
me.
Chris on the line.
Great Chris, yep.
Get Chris. So here's one that came through today, actually, and I like this one because this one talks about the growth of the game and going through having a new play group developing here locally and over in Mississippi as well. I'm getting to see some of this stuff firsthand. But I think this one is one that could be impactful based on your ability to sway the perception of redemption to someone that is an outsider as far as like the Christian faith or whatever. But how would you sell redemption to a card game player, so someone that's already playing card games that isn't initially interested in a Christian card game? And this was by Card Game Fanatic.
May I?
Yes, you may.
With inviting people to church, I've learned a lot the last couple years that You can invite random people to church, and like you might plant the seed, and then you'll never see the fruits. Or you might be the one where they were praying for something, and then I don't know. And then years from now, they can remember. It might also be the sense, I'm going to bring this all back in. Or it might be like I needed that for me. Like, I needed to be pushed to invite people. What I found out when I was inviting people, and I got no one to come to church, it wasn't until I started forming relationships and really started getting to know people and started inviting them out to other things. And then it's just like, oh yeah, I can't do that. I'll be at church. And now more of a secular friend group has started being like, oh yeah, we know you're going to church. And then others are like, oh yeah, no, we're going to this church. Even though I had invited them, they're going to one closer to them. So for me, if someone's not interested in the Christian aspect, it's probably the same reason they're not going to go to church with you. And there's going to be much bigger theological, spiritual walls, barriers there that you have to break down. For me, it's all about I'd build a relationship with them first. Now, if you're just at a card game shop and you don't know them, oh, sit down, let's talk. Like, what are you playing? I'm not going to show you Redemption yet. Oh, this is just a game I'm playing. What are you playing? Oh, cool, this is really cool. Once you start talking to them, get to know them, and then it's like, oh yeah, this is what I have. It's a lot of strategy built in and different things. So
Show them Benaiah first. Just throw that out there.
Yeah, there's plenty of good art. Yeah, I would treat it like I do with church.
Don't show them IR. Sorry, Tyler. You were being serious, and I'm sorry.
No, I will always accept that joke.
Well, I think before Jaden answers, I think what you talked about planting the seed and potentially never seeing the fruit of that goes back to when I was a teenager. Our pastor at church started telling us about a concept, and it was something that he had gotten from someone else, like the idea of it. But he got his whiteboard and he had it up there as his little message prop, and he drew what looked like we were about to do the slope intercept for him. Like he's drawing a line, and I'm like, what's going on here? And he drew a 0 in the middle, and then a 5 at one end, and a -5 at the other end. And he said that everyone, or he said most people operate that non-believers are a 0, and you're trying to get them to 5. But you have to start understanding there's a concept of -5. I hate religion. I hate Christian faith. I have a problem with your God. And there's this scale, and you may not ever see them take that first step on the positive side to where they're willing to darken the door of a church. But if you understand where they're operating from and you can just move them in that direction, and you don't see it, and a lot of times, especially, and I'm not trying to knock any particular denomination, but I remember growing up, Baptist people, they would always say, hey, we're going to get together on Saturday. Southern Baptist. Yeah. We're going to get together. Southern Mission. I don't care. All Baptists. I don't know.
Southern Baptist
We're going to get together, and what are we going to do? What's the phrase they say? We're going to go out Saturday to the mall, and we're going soul winning. Well, you don't always win the soul, okay? And if that's your purpose, is to save the soul versus building the relationship and then letting God work on them and be what turns them.
You don't win the soul, God does.
Exactly. And I don't want to like take, and I know that that's probably meant in a certain light, and I'm taking it potentially out of context of how it's intended. But I think the way that can negatively come off, and just think about the concept of that. So don't approach anyone as like there's something to be conquered or to move and just put that feather in your cap. Like that's not what it should be. Relationship based. So when you talk about that, that's what I think about. And if you want them to play Redemption and you want to use the game as kind of a bridge to potentially share your faith and things, then you have to find where they are and you have to meet them where they are. I mean, at a certain point, Jesus wasn't in the synagogues expecting people to come and, find out about what he could do for them and to find out about the kingdom that he was talking about that was coming. He was going out in the streets. He was going out. He was passing the blind. He was doing all of this with them, and that's why he was, ridiculed in his time. And I think it's 100% relationship based. And I think that that's got to be the main focus if you're trying to do anything that has any faith based, even if you don't care about the game being faith based, you just play it as a secular person, and you play. When you share that, immediately someone assumes something about you because of the context of the game. And so you have to understand that and how that fits in. And the only way to bridge that gap, if there is negative thoughts about Christian faith, is it has to come from a relationship standpoint. So that I'd just piggyback off of what you said and just reiterate that same point.
Yeah, I think I would. I don't know. I guess on the like sharing your faith with someone aspect, like just outside the game, I would maybe push back a little bit and say that there is room for sharing that, even if there's not going to be a relationship. But I think you approach it differently, where it's like, if I'm never going to see this person again, I can still share that, plant a seed, and then somebody else down the road, can help with that, or can water that. Maybe something will come of it. But I don't think we should be scared to like talk about it with people that, oh, I'm not going to have a relationship with them, so it's not worth it. I think for redemption, it's similar. I mean, like, I think it is kind of more of what you're saying about like the relationship aspect, where I think as long as, or if you're trying to show someone redemption, you're kind of doing so, I guess, with the implication that if they start playing, you guys are gonna be able to keep playing together, and they'll be kind of grouped in with your group or whoever. And so I think their relationship is definitely important. I don't think a secular person is going to be interested unless they already kind of have a love for games and like new strategy and that kind of thing, because I think there's the kind of two aspects to redemption players, where some people play it because it's fun and they love Jesus, and some people play it because they really like the strategy elements, and maybe they also love Jesus but don't necessarily have to. I guess that's kind of the so I think you would kind of have to get people in on the the aspects of the game that make it different from other games, that make it fun, strategic, and if they like the depth of strategy that Redemption offers, which I think we can argue is deeper than most other games, or at least like the ceiling is higher. But I think that would be kind of my approach if I were to sell it to somebody. Depending on where we were at with the relationship, but if it's just like blank pitch, I don't really know the person, I would probably just talk about here are some of the key strategic elements that might be interesting to just a gamer.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair kind of like the next step. So you can potentially have some sort of relationship as a basis, and then, oh, here, let me show you the cool aspect, like what makes this different than other games and things, and kind of pull them in. So I think that could work like a 1-2 punch for that. But
That's
think
what
also,
James said.
You probably also have to kind of reiterate, just make sure they understand you don't have to know a lot about the Bible in order to be good at the game, or in order to play the game even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got one more question, and this one is potentially a little bit of a loaded one, but let's try to knock it out quickly. This is from our good friend, Mr. T, who is newer to the game, but is part of the, you were talking about relative based or whatever. So part of that, I guess, resurgence over in California. But what are the three strongest defenses currently? And he asked us like what feels like a month ago, but now it might be even better because we're closer to Nats. So things have, changed and potentially shifted a little bit. And now, if you have an idea, I mean, we're within the same calendar month that Nats is going to start. So, I mean, it's pretty much here. There might be like one last big shift or whatever on something, but I mean, if you guys say that a defense is top right now, then it's going to be highly playable at nationals. So relevant information here. So what would you guys say are the top 3 defenses currently?
Do we each give 3 or each give 1?
No, I think each person can just knock out quickly their 3.
I do want to, before we get into that, I do want to point out that I don't think he's, I mean, he's kind of newer to the game in the sense that he's coming back to it, but he was playing back in, or back at least at Nationals 2009. He did tie for second in Type 1 multiplayer
Okay.
with
So he was
Kevin
tied
Schride
with
and Ron Sias.
14 other players.
I don't know how many other players there were, but that was Nationals 2009. So
Yeah. Okay.
This is Brian Hake and Kirk Hake's relative.
Yeah.
Wait, he tied for what in 2009?
tied for second in Type 1 multiplayer with
Gotta go back there and see that. Very cool.
Ron Sias and Kevin Schride, if I'm not mistaken.
For me, it's Demon Thieves, Black Good Stuff, which is mostly Philistines, a Priest of Zeus, and Outsiders, and a couple Canaanites. And then the third is Herod's. And that's not in any order. Like, those are my 3.
I wasn't paying attention. What was the first one?
Demon Thieves.
Demon Thieves. Okay. Demon Thieves, Black Good Stuff, and Herod's.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you got, Jaden?
Edomites for sure.
I
Are
won't
there any other
disagree.
defenses? Are
Be realistic.
there-
I'm just kidding. If you think that, there's no wrong thoughts.
They're so good.
They have some strengths, but yeah, unfortunately, I don't think they quite have enough of the tools, like the battle kind of abilities. There's some CBP, but maybe not quite enough. So yeah, I think they have to be a little bit of a bigger defense to work well, I think, and that gives them a little bit of trouble. But the Banished Lost Soul is really good, I think. But anyways, if I were to pick 3, I'm trying to think if there are any differences in my 3 then from what Tyler mentioned. Like after he said the first 2, I was like, Herod's gonna be the third. So like I knew where he was going.
I tried not to.
And yeah, like I mean, if you didn't, I was gonna be like,
Yeah.
yeah. I want to say like Gray Black is still up there for me. I'm wondering if it's maybe better than Mono Black, but I don't think so. And that's like I think you can still play Gray Black, or I think you can still say that Mono Black with a splashed, Emperor Claudius for Daenerys or something is still black. But yeah, I think because you have enough good black-gray enhancements that, like splashing a Claudius and Mono Black doesn't really make it gray-black, but it still fits well, and you get Daenerys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where I'd have to lean.
All right. Well,
Now in Type 2,
Oh,
Whoa,
okay.
whoa,
Oh
whoa.
yeah.
So-
Edomites are up there.
we ain't got time for all that. I think I'll continue the trend that Black is. I think Black getting Woman of Thebes and some of the Canaanite toys to be able to mix and match, because I think Black was really good last year too. It had to borrow the gray splash stuff to get the chump block, and now it's kind of got its own chump block with Woman of Thebes that doesn't require potentially an enhancement, as long as you can, she's not prevented and you can get through any potential protection issues. that's protecting from evil cards. But I think getting to blend that stuff makes black more standalone this year than it was last year, and so I think that would be top three for me. I think another one, and it's weird. I'm gonna say this is a top defense, but not because of its ability as a defense, and that's Herod's. And the reason I say that is obviously it can get blocks, but it allows you to play such a small defense that lets you play a super aggro offense, lets you play heavy clay without being big clay, just heavy in a 50 card deck. It lets you potentially play several different like mix and match, GOC. It recently came back when Caden joined the Temple Discord. It was like gospel barf. Just throw out all the good stuff here in a deck, and you need a light defense to pair with it that can get a block here or there. And you go there, and you got your toy we talked about earlier, Herod's Temple, that's gonna enable it. So I think
that's kind of what I was wondering. Is like, if you take out Herod's Temple, how many tiers down do Herod's
very
fall?
far, I think. I think at that point it starts to become real that they're not getting support anymore, and there's not much more you're going to get to be able to splash into it, and you lose their best toy.
You lose their best toy, and they're good right now because they're characters with Temple. You take away Temple, their characters, they don't do anything because you don't play enhancements, and gold doesn't have a lot of interrupts, so the entire defense changes.
You take away that fun little play that, I'm going to do Herod's Executioner and toss this for 6, and you're dead. You take away that because you don't have the toss.
I mean, nobody's really tossing as much with Herod's Executioner though. Like, that's just foreign horses, fetal acquisition all day.
Yeah, but I think just you almost have to separate that one from you're not ranking it a top defense because of its blocking prowess. It's what it enables. So with that disclaimer, it's top 3, and then I think you have to go with either Thieves or Demon Thieves, and depending on the player, I think some people could say that they think just straight Crimson could potentially be better, because it lets you play more streamlined, and it works well if you're not like. I think Joshua probably plays a little bit better with straight Thieves, because if you go Demon Thieves and you start to get a little bit, I don't know, it almost pulls you and wants you to put more resources into your defense than that deck necessarily needs, because it's picking off cards and things. And then there are decks with Demon Thieves that I think use the best of both worlds, like the Add to Battle off of Gates, potentially mixing it with Sheol, Prince of the Air, giving it a soul hide element or something to manipulate. So I think I'd put those almost like in the same category, Thieves and then Demon Thieves, and I would say that's in top 3, and that's no particular order. If I were going to Nats today and I got to play whatever defense I wanted to, because I believe in its ability to block and I like how it plays, it would be black. I really like the things you can do with that, but I also know that as more people get on black, people are starting to find answers to it, and then by nationals, black is probably not going to be an optimal defense to play if you're trying to have if you want to pack something that's unique that's not being presented in other decks, then you're probably going to have to move off of black, because the tricks out there with the whole weapons in reserve for Philistines, you can do the Canaanite stuff to manipulate. And you got Priest of Zeus, and then, I mean, been there, done that.
Are you just saying this
Got
so
the
that
clouds
people
over
will
Philly to
move
do
off
it.
of black?
That's what I
so
hear.
that you can then just
That's
sneak in
exactly
there.
what I'm doing.
All right, I see. Yeah.
John touched on it. Like I think synergy is so important. Like, I think Purple Brown's really good. I think Joshua Black is better than Joshua Crimson, because Joshua can snag those Joshua cards in reserve that work so well. Like, I can grab Deceitful Possessions and get an Add to Battle when my Woman the Bez is in your territory. And now I have an Add to Battle with a draw 2 next turn. Like, there's things I can do with Joshua that enables more of my deck to work than Crimson. However, and you still play one brigade.
Fun.
Yeah, Edomites are awesome. But yeah, they could use like a couple more. They just have so much at their disposal. But with us, we all said black. We all agree on black. We're not seeing a lot of black in the meta. We're seeing some, but when we say like we're not seeing I don't think we're seeing a lot based on all three of us saying black is top 3. It doesn't look the same shares as Thieves and
You're
Heritage.
saying that our belief in it is higher than the meta share that it's taken up currently.
Yeah, all three of us agreed on black, and I'm not seeing the meta share saying it's the same.
But I think it's also, and this was brought up. Obviously, Jake is not with us. Not like he's not. I knew you were going to take that out of context. He's not with us on this recording. But his thing that he's been pushing is the meta forecast or whatever. And it was brought up in our discussion trying to figure out which decks are going to be on there. Are we going to keep it the same, change
Yep.
it up? Was Clay as an offense mixed with whatever, like change it up. There's
Yep.
not been a ton of decks that support something that we all agree is a top tier deck pairing and deck archetype. And so here it is. We're talking about defense. Like we all believe black is pretty good, and I think it is, but you're not necessarily seeing it played as much. And I think a little bit of that I feel like is gamesmanship, that people are waiting to play what they want to play or what they believe in at nationals a little
Yeah.
bit. And then I think some people just they want to play what's popular and what they see other people winning with, and so it's a regurgitation of I'm going to take this deck, make my twist on it, and then play it.
Yeah.
And as we keep getting, especially if we get results for some of these other regionals that are going to happen and things before nationals, if Joshua Thieves perform well, Big Clay performs well, I think you're going to see potentially even more copycats in those two veins, and I think that's taken up a large portion of the market share in the meta, that I think those players would branch out and play other things in years past, but they're latched on to something that they're seeing have really good results. And I don't know, it feels like last year GOC, even if it was the quote unquote gospel barf, you had nativity kind of over here as an aside, mostly Tim and Jake pushing that train, but it feels like everybody just acknowledged that this was the best that you could play something in GOC, and that was a given. And now it's a couple of things. It's Joshua and Thieves, and then it's Big Clay. And
Yep.
to choose to not play one of those two decks when they're having, the success that they're having, or they're as popular as they are, then I guess there's not a ton of mass creativity in the middle range. Like you got Jay playing something that's unique, like that Ruth deck, and
Yeah.
and testing something out. You've got Chad playing something unique. I think compared to what other people are playing, my Clouds Over Philly deck is kind of unique. So you do have that, but I just think like the clump of like in the middle, like the middle tier of players, it feels like they're all just slammed on Joshua Thieves right now, and it's like they're just reluctant to move off to anything else. And I don't know if that's the gamesmanship, if I'm going to change before Nats, or I'm just going to stick with the same deck and I'm going to play it because it's good.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but
I
it does take away a little diversity in the meta.
Yep. I talked about Joshua Thieves back in September and October, saying like that's going to be one of the best decks. And I give credit to Jake, I think being the architect of like the original Jake Take. Like Take, I think was Jake.
I built the contender deck before that.
There you go. Yep. There. I didn't know that.
Actually, I built the playtest deck before that.
Yes.
Matter of fact, Jake just took the contender deck and put the real DOMs in.
Probably. I mean, that's probably like pretty close. But
Took out the K to Knight stuff.
my point is, for the people, and I've talked about net decking, for the people that are net decking and copying the decks, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people, it's their skills is playing and not deck building.
Hey, I've got 2 unique decks this year.
Oh, I know you're. I don't think you are one of those.
No, I'm definitely a net decker, but this year I've actually had some time to build decks. So,
Yes.
but yes, there's
my
no
po-
shame in the game.
No, not at all. This isn't a negative. My question is, How do you beat the architect of that deck who knows why they put the card in there? When you've played it, you got the deck and you could have played it 100 times, so you know how to play it, but you don't know why it's in there. So I do a lot of training with adults. If I don't teach you the why and I just teach you the repetitions, you know what to repeat. Shout out times to come. You know what to repeat in a game, but you don't know why you're doing certain things. So I think when we see net decking, the architects know that card is in there for a reason. So that's all. Food for thought. Late night thoughts. Tyler Stevens.
Yeah.
Tyler talks it.
It's like Jaden taking my new deck that I've been working on. Is like, hey, you should put this in there, and it'll come out after the regional. It'll be shared, but like if you don't look at a list and immediately know what the thought was behind why it's like it is, then and sometimes that's a positive thing. Like you come in with a new thought and you're like, hey, this could go in there, and it's actually a really good thing. But then if you cut something out, you could be cutting out something that actually goes into another line of play that you just took out a combo in the deck or something.
Yep.
For the record, I knew the thought behind all the cards that you put in the deck. I just think they weren't very good.
Okay. We'll see. I personally think they were pretty good in the sequence that I put them in. But that's a story for another episode.
Bring them up to North Central Regionals.
I wish I could, but y'all waited till the last minute like Jeremy. So travel 16 hours or 2 hours.
I mean,
it's easy pickings both places. So, hey, I'm still gonna draft North Central. Don't worry. I know where my bread is buttered.
let's go.
Yes. So I think we are done with everything I had on the outline. It's been 2.5 hours. I do appreciate you guys rocking with me. I hope you guys that have watched this or watched at it have enjoyed it. There's a lot of things we probably should wish that we could take back, but we can't. It's live. Sorry, Maxwell. I'm sorry. I don't know where Matthew came from. He just snuck up. He looked at your hand and he drew 3, and that's just my bad.
It happens.
Do you guys have any parting thoughts that you want to share with people? Tyler, I'm giving you one more opportunity. Anything you want to share? It's live.
No, I know Jaden and I have something. I don't know if that's being discussed tonight.
I mean,
I don't know what it is, so might as well.
We could throw it out there. I feel like we kind of hinted at it enough.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows when we're actually gonna be able to schedule time to.
Yeah, we would have to schedule like
or
next
nationals.
week or something.
Yeah, which probably.
All right,
Probably
big
not gonna
announcement. Drum roll. Hold on.
Oh, now you know where it is.
I feel like Tyler, you should start out because it was kind of. I feel like it was kind of your idea. Well, not yours, but
Your brainchild.
it
Everybody's
was
got a brainchild.
Jeremy's idea. that he
Jeremy's
kinda
idea.
talked to you about.
Yeah, so Jaden, Jeremy, and I do well in Type 2. In the last few years, we've done too well for the most part. Jaden stayed out 1 year. But a lot of it became like we put a lot of time into it in Type 2. Like that's our baby. We push it. That's our passion. We're very competitive in Type 2. It kind of got to the point where like we're ultra competitive in Type 2, especially seeing that last year. I was going to play Type 1 this year. So Jeremy and I were talking later on. He got the idea, what if the 3 of us sit out of Type 2 this year? So it would be me, Jeremy, and Jaden would not play Type 2. We would announce we are not going to do this. And what does that look like? Like, how do we still impact the game, or how do we impact Type 2? So what do you want to say what we did because of that?
Yeah. So you reached out to me, I think, and you were like, "Hey, Jeremy and I were talking. He had this idea. What if the 3 of us didn't play Type 2?" And I was like, "Well, actually, I wasn't planning to play Type 2 this year either." So I mean, yeah, let's do it. And then I had this idea that I guess I had kind of been thinking about prior to this, if I remember correctly, of like, how we could get more people involved in Type 2. And I was then kind of, when you brought this up, I was like, oh, okay, maybe we can put this into something, actually, implement something for nationals, I guess. And I was like, what if each of us pick someone to like sponsor as, a Type 2 player or I guess a non-Type 2 player that now, we can talk to and kind of, coach in a sense, use our experience in Type 2 and be like, hey, let's let's get these people interested if they're willing, let's help them figure out what kind of deck they'd want to play and what what that would look like in Type 2, do some practice for them, that kind of thing. So that was my pitch, and Tyler and Jeremy were both on board with that. Thought it seemed like a pretty cool plan. Get some new people interested, and I guess we could just throw out there who each of us chose as our
Padawan.
Yeah. Yep. The Type 2 Padawan. I went with Sean Sievers. So, one of the players I really like, just a good dude. Him and I talk, just life
Good
in
dude
general.
if you can get him off of Priest. If you can get him off of Priest.
Yeah, and I probably can't, but I also like to see what do you want to play? Like, how do you want to go about this? And him and I have a good schedule, so we can talk and play games and stuff as well. And I send him a bunch of stuff, so I'll be sponsoring Sean, and then I don't know if you said I was gonna make the deck, the like physical deck for Sean. Just say, here you go. So I'll be making the physical deck. So we'll go back and forth. We're gonna do play testing, and then we also kind of said like, hey, who can beat R3? Like, let's see it. Can you guys beat the people that we're mentoring and doing all that? So it's like, we're gonna take a step out and let's get this Type 2 competition in there. Can you beat the big threes?
Yeah. And you said we're going to do play testings. I mean, you guys haven't started yet, or?
I was selfishly play testing Type 1 with him. Got play Type 1 this year, so we've been play testing Type 1, and I ran a lot of decks by him. And then he said, let's get a Type 2 game in soon. And I was like, you just got to tell me what. And then he kind of told me what he wanted to play, so I put together a few, and we'll be getting some games in. But yeah, we're starting a little late on testing.
Yeah. So for mine, I feel like the history with the person that I chose goes back a little bit further with Type 2, like, or before this idea was even a thing, where he, I've been trying to get him to play Type 2 for a while now, but he's had some hang-ups, as far as, like his gripes with Type 2. Like, he doesn't like experience credit. He's got some other
Rightfully
things.
so.
What's that?
Rightfully so. The only people
But-
that like that are the people that are already ingrained into Type 2. You guys are talking about trying to branch out and make it more accessible or bring it to other people. He's got a valid point. It's a random hurdle for that category that nothing else has.
All right. Well, we can talk about that
Anyway.
another time. So I reached out to this individual, and he was a little bit hesitant, but he also kind of did it out of spite, knowing that Tyler and Jeremy didn't pick him. So Brian Jones agreed to be my Padawan, I guess, for Type 2 at Nationals this year. We saw him place in Type 2 at Maryland State there. Mark got the best of him there, but yeah, we've been working on some ideas and trying some different things out. The deck that he tried out at Maryland State was one that we were kind of going back and forth on a little bit, as far as like, okay, does this actually have potential, or is it just kind of a little too far off the beaten path, so to speak? So that was a good test there, and I think we're on a good track here. But yeah, I think it will be fun to. I think not only will there be more engagement, or hopefully more engagement with Type 2 from from these guys for sure, but from other people who are maybe like, oh, maybe this is the year to try out Type 2. There's going to be a more open field, so to speak. Obviously Sean's a good player, Brian's a good player. We'll talk about Jeremy's sponsor as well, also a good player, with titles and whatnot to back it up. And but Type 2 is a whole new animal that none of these three have really explored much, and so I think that will be a cool one. So do you want to share Jeremy's?
Yeah. So then, I was a little surprised with Jeremy's, but then when I actually thought about what he might play and what Jeremy's played a couple before at different tournaments, 2 different styles, I was like, oh, this makes sense. So very good Type 1 player, very calculated Type 1 player, but it's the one and
John,
only.
do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know John?
Jeremy's sponsor.
Maybe I'm sorry, y'all were talking Type 2. I fell asleep. I would guess.
Counting experience credits in his sleep.
I'll throw out Tim.
Josh
Because I know he's been talking about playing Type 2. So
Yeah. Josh P is
that is a very calculated
Sponsy.
player. So that is a great way to describe him.
but he likes the Harrods, he likes clay, he likes some of the chump stuff, something else he likes that I know of. So it's just there's a few. Oh, Jeremy's in here saying it. We're building up the hype for you, Jeremy. So Jeremy's got Josh P, who's he's sponsoring.
So I wonder what people would say, right now, of the three, knowing that you guys are in their corner, not necessarily knowing specific decks and things yet. I wonder where you would rank those players, because I think naturally Sean's at an uphill battle against Brian and Josh P.
Sean, he's outplaced Brian this year in tournaments that they were at.
That's fair, but Brian also has the hard-headed, arrogant streak to you.
Ooh, Brian!
Hey! You did it. You lit the fire under him, so to speak, maybe. But it's like a war probably going on within him. If he does well, yeah, I did well, but I hate Type 2, so it's
Yeah. He's gonna have to put experience credits on all his heroes every time. And I'm gonna walk by and judge too.
you don't have a little what are those little pebbles y'all used to use?
Still do, baby.
Oh man. So yeah, I think that I wonder how the community would rank their expectations of how those three would place. Not necessarily whether they would get first through third at nationals, but out of those three, who would be the front runner?
It's Josh Potratz, for anyone who doesn't know
Yep.
what the P stands for.
Yes.
Might stand for priests, but
Yeah.
definitely Potratz. But yeah, I think I think one of the fun parts about it for kind of us on the back end too is that there's going to be kind of a little bit of that competition between Jeremy and Tyler and I.
Oh yeah.
as oh, who's doing better, and we're all going to be looking at the games and or looking at the live stream or whatever.
I'm gonna be
trying to-
judging, so I get to
Oh.
I get to rule against all their guys.
I don't know if I like that.
Yeah. Something smells fishy here.
you have to judge Booster.
Gotta
You got
hedge
the
my
other guys
bet.
in
Gotta
Type
hedge
2.
my bet.
But,
And this is the reason you can't play the new promo, because they knew it would mess you up.
Hmm
So
I
you-
went back and looked at what it used to do. It used to be a select X, not a draw X. So all your heroes that came back, it was just a board wipe. That's crazy. But it was just a draft. But that makes the fantasy draft more fun too, because we're gonna have people that usually want to play that are going to be playing in a 2-player category. That's big. We also have another person that threw their hat in the ring and said, hey, they're going to sponsor someone too. They're like, yeah, if you're doing it, I will too. I'm not going to make it at Nats. I thought you had to be a top Type 2 player, but I've never beat this guy in Type 2 before, actually. But Jay Chambers is also sponsoring someone. And Tim, is it okay if I spoil it? So Jay sponsoring Tim, and I don't know if that was a surprise or not, but I'm going to let the cat out of the bag because
So Type 2 has gone to the politics, is what you're saying. So if you're not one of the selected 4, these guys are pulling against you. So
well, me, Jaden, and Jeremy got together.
It's the elites versus the peasants is what you guys are setting up here, and it's not fair.
I mean, I think first it's the 3 of us versus Jay.
Yes, it's
And
definitely
then-
us 3 versus Tim.
Well,
Jay,
'Cause,
sorry.
I mean, if we were to place bets right now, I mean, Tim's been playing a lot of 100-card decks lately. He's playing
Easy
in the Type 2
transition.
Lackey Grand Prix,
yeah,
which none of these other 3
at
guys
least,
are.
At least all the mechanics
so-
of handling the deck is already down. So
He's
Yep.
getting
important.
reps in. I mean, granted, Brian's been playing big clay as well, so I mean that's
Yep, another
you
one.
know,
There's
and he's
no-
also playing a bit of Type 2, so
Yep.
in person.
Sean's had some. Sean's played some Type 2, but there was stipulations like no Type 2 at Nationals before.
Yeah.
I believe. So yeah, I think it's. I don't think we really did any other stipulations other than that. I'm answering John M.
We had stipulations, man. Sorry,
Yeah.
no Type 2 at Nationals before.
Ooh, that was a close one. So yeah, I think
And-
it'll be interesting because we get the fantasy draft. So it's like, do I draft Brian?
Or
Like, do
John-
I get the booster
Johnny
win? Do I
M.
got or John? Like, there's other people. Is that the same Josh B from my Wisconsin play
I
group?
think he's thinking of Josh Putney, and
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
This is
Josh
the
Putney
Kansas
is from
City.
Kansas,
Josh
so-
P.
Yep.
2 different ones. But, guys, it's been almost 3 hours. I'm cool with calling it. What do you think?
Yep, I gotta go to bed.
I think this was fun. I think if we do it again, we'd have to find a way to rein it in and have it a little bit more on point. But I definitely like the interaction and kind of the free flowing and the fact that, hallelujah, I don't have to necessarily edit anything.
No edits,
It was
baby.
just
Welcome to my
live.
life.
Boom.
Ain't
know
it
what?
nice?
I might just start doing
I'm on to
this.
something.
I might just have to start doing this all the time. Even if I'll record and just be done with it.
I'm gonna hit up Sean for a Type 2 game real quick.
Test that Type 1 deck. All right.
Do it.
All right. Well, we will get out of here. Thank you guys that have been watching, hanging out with us. Hopefully, we didn't offend too many people. I will be disappointed if we didn't offend at least one person, but I don't want to offend too many.
Yep.
And bonus points if you got offended more than once. Okay?
Brian.
So,
And probably Mark
and,
too.
and one last thing in closing: will Foretelling Angel be banned?
I don't know. At some point, maybe.
I
Good
tried,
try.
Brian. He won't do
Good
it.
try.
All right. Everyone, have a good night. Signing off. Appreciate you.